things that I went through and fact checked pre-debate.
Are you talking about like the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that on the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because this is where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating under the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point though.
Why wouldn't the negates the point? Because you don't have a statement from the parents. You are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct
it's not correcting. That doesn't negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. If the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him in.
I think you're talking about you said it's been the narrative. Everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him. And we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lived nearby and he was also his Boy Scout leader. How does
this negate that the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had the evidence, I'm going to address
that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
Yeah.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever. Never happened.
You're quoting the parents as having said, you said that Matt Robinson said that his kid was, you say involved. I don't want to misquote you.
Confronted him about
Confronted him.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that we have not seen any evidence that is true.
We can fact check that.
Okay.
Because we do have evidence.
And I'm saying it's the charging doc, which could have been derived from a statement Mike Mitchell said.
Two things I have already in the back. One is the charging doc, and the other one is a video of Kathy Nestor saying she hasn't seen Tyler's phone.
Okay, we can run Kathy to go back, and then just to go backwards to Kathy first in court saying she didn't get her client's phone. Yeah, and then I think we'll go to the. If you're okay with that,
thing not in dispute. These are all things that are not even disputing.
Okay, so we don't have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages, something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that. And she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's effectively, again, the state saying these messages are real. You don't get the discovery on these messages just yet. She will during trial. They will actually get discovery on the messages.
That would make their case fall apart if it was the case that they weren't able to actually pull the data off the text messages? Do you think the prosecution would go to court with fabricated text messages?
It's called winners and losers. They may not be fabricated, but by the way, as what they are saying, like I said, if there was somebody logged into his phone, they may not be fabricated. That's the point.
So let's get to
the
parents fact check.
So I was saying, right? I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis. Let's see if that's correct. What are we looking at
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Is this the charging doc?
I can't see it. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes. So this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell got interviewed, Amber Robinson got interviewed, and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March, Mike Mitchell, and he wrote a statement, which I find to be very shady that they decided to bring.
But why aren't the parents disputing that?
No. Well, first off,
that's the question.
First off, the parents are not going to ever play in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison
but
forever.
They're playing to somebody else who's your source.
I'm not going to address that.
They're playing to someone else who's your source, but won't go publicly tell the media this is not true.
Well, what I did not say to you that I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who was involved and permanently sued. When I have to take my lawyer's advice, I mean, there's so many things that I want to respond to when people are speaking about.
Yeah, but it's bizarre that they would utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong.
I am telling you that you would nary find a lawyer who would advise you to go to the media.
This mother,
especially when your son
was
up for death.
If I thought that my kid was in any way, shape, or form going to be up, you couldn't shut me up. Or my wife, she would be like, that's not true. That's ridiculous. There's no possible. That never happened. These people are lying through their teeth. They'd be public whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's for you and your wife. But when a judge issues a gag order in a case and your son is up for death, and your lawyers could be advising you that if you say anything, you could blow the case, you would have a more responsible consideration.
I see.
And we're speaking opinion here. You're like, well, I wouldn't care. I'd violate it and I'd violate the judge's orders and see what would happen.
If you have a source, it seems like they're violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to a source, but what I am saying to you is speaking just relevant to what this is. We have not seen any proof that statement that is included in this charging document. I think it is highly likely on the basis of the preliminary hearing that all came from Mike Mitchell, and Mike Mitchell would be a part. He's
based
saying,
on the statements of
it's him saying the parents told me this. The parents could dispute that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this, putting together context clues. If the state had it on, 100% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it, a 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence. And I can tell you why Matt Robinson made this statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not receive discovery. You're saying that they didn't
receive that information?
No. They just received the text messages. But in order to...
That's not the text messages.
The probative information.
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text messages.
They never presented it. The state never put it on.
Yeah, they didn't. The defense could easily still have presented this. Yeah.
No.
They could have said they're
no.
They're not allowed to. Are you sure?
In a preliminary hearing,
yeah,
the defense is engaging with whatever evidence the state decides to put on. They did not put this on as evidence. Brian Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything?
They're responding to the state's
evidence. I'm asking,
evidence.
are they allowed to present anything?
They are allowed to say...
Like if there was a conspiracy that they could prove right then and there, would they present that in one of these hearings?
No, it wouldn't be the right time for that.
I disagree. I think that they not only could do it, but they would do it. In fact, when I talked in depth with my attorney, they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage of the hearing is the state is saying we have enough evidence that we think this needs to go forth to the trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward. Right. And okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state that says, we find this filing to be defective in and of itself. We don't even have to defend ourselves because you, the state, have enough, you know what the laws are on the books, and this filing is defective and you should get rid of these charges because they don't make sense based on what you can decide based on a law on the books. So then that's why they then file the dismissal. right? So in the dismissal, what they're doing is they are engaging, and this is what was widely misinterpreted.
Well, yeah, they're engaging as though as it's a hypothetical. If this is hypothetically true, then
so
X.
they're saying all of these
but
charges.
I'm not disputing any of that.
So that's what you're asking. Why you're saying could they just
what
put
I'm
out?
asking specifically is like who could shut parents up who are like, no way, there's no possible. This never happened. This is ridiculous. They would be shouting it on CNN. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that that's quite ridiculous. But I'll even concede this whole point to you. Let's just say maybe this was misconstrued, right? There's a little bit of reason to doubt it because we're still waiting for the evidence for trial. If that's the case, then why not take the same standard for the evidence that you present? You're just waiting for trial.
Well, you didn't do that.
Wait a second.
We're here.
Wait a second. I just want to make sure that I got this right. That's your argument to me, right?
My argument to you is what?
Your argument to me is that, hey, wait a second, Andrew. There's not enough here that convinces me, right?
Well, that's actually my rebuttal to you, is that you are saying, why are people engaging in what you term to be conspiracy theories?
No.
I term it to be thinking. They're just thinking because they're recognizing there are a lot of holes in these stories and that this is not strong evidence, right? This is the reason they're doing it. I'm explaining to you, this is the reason that they're doing it. I'm addressing what you view to be overwhelming evidence. And by the way, I want to be clear.
That which convinces me.
But thus far, every point that you've brought up, every point that you've brought up, did you feel like this is beyond a reasonable doubt? I mean, you realize
remember what I said in my opening.
Going to be
it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just what I find convincing is what I find overwhelming.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it convincing?
If that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second, there's a little bit of problems. There's some problems in this case that I have questions for that I want answers to. Nobody would have a problem, actually. At least of all me. I would be the least likely person to have an issue with it, you, any of your fans, anybody saying. In fact, I've had tons of Discord calls about this. My position's always been clear. Of course, conspiracies exist. Some of them have way better evidence than others, but I've seen them myself. I know conspiracy. In fact, the federal government has hundreds of thousands of laws about conspiracies. They see them everywhere. We both know this, right? That's never what the problem is. The problem is when you make claims outside of, well, wait a second. I'm just questioning evidence here. I'm just questioning what the state's case is here. I'm just asking questions. It's when you make claims outside of that, where you claim that there's good evidence or good standards you should believe because, and then it turns out that it's all nonsense or it's wackadoo stuff or it makes no sense. And when we have a chance to cross-examine your evidence that you've presented, I'm going to show a lot of that. A lot of this conjecture that's based on literally nothing, that leads from no inferences whatsoever. Like you couldn't even infer it logically. That's the problem. The problem has never been whether or not you just said, you know, there's not enough in this case so far until we get to the trial. I remain unconvinced. I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. There's people who are convinced too. That's never been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
Okay. I'm not sure I really care if you have a problem with what I think in my own spare time. I don't understand this like lecture that you just gave. But beyond that, what I'm saying is that if the state is allowed to use, this is what my problem is. You guys are not allowed. Yeah, you guys think while it's illegal, you can. You are allowed to do that. So, but anyway, going back to you saying I wouldn't have a problem. I think I just demonstrated pretty thoroughly that what you claim that you have a problem with is exactly what the state is engaged in at this stage. So it just doesn't make sense.
That's not the case. In fact,
so if people look and they say, I'm looking at the gun and I see, and I'm inferring this, and someone else says, I'm looking at the gun evidence and I'm inferring that, they're both doing the exact same thing.
They're not. You're
just saying, I want to do it for the state.
That's propositionally false.
That is not propositionally false.
I'll explain exactly how. It is the case that every proposition is going to have a true or false conclusion, period. That's just logic, right? It's the law of excluded middle. All propositions are going to be true or they're going to be false. When we get into when we're making inferences based on propositions. We can actually come to true conclusions with false premises inside of a proposition. In fact, what we're talking about here is not whether or not you feel that you're convinced by this evidence.
But you felt like you were
right?
convinced.
Sure. But here's the thing. When you ask me my reason, Andrew, why are you convinced by this? I can give you my reasons why I'm convinced by it, why it seems reasonable and rational to me to be convinced. You could even say, but Andrew, I'm just not convinced by it. If that was the limitation of your claims, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's why I wanted to have the conversation, in fact, was so that we could move into your actual claims that you've made, which transcend the idea of I'm just asking questions.
Before we get into that, your team has one thing they want to show before you go into that.
Okay.
So if you want to pull that up, this is the prosecution filing showing defense had full discovery by April 1st.
Oof.
They did not. That's not true.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
To date, the state's prosecutors have disclosed all evidence that is presently and reasonably available to them as required under Rule 16, Utah R Criminal, to be more precise, as of April 1st.
Yeah, that was not 100%. That's why they're caging that by saying what's reasonable. There was an entire, and we can pull this up. Like, we should now play the Kathy Nestor clip because that's from there. So, and they were basically saying you don't need it at this stage, meaning it's not reasonable that you're asking for this when we're going into a hearing that's just going to be based on hearsay and stuff, things of that nature. But of course, by the time a trial comes, you're going to get all the discovery
Where it's just
documents.
show cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
there.
I understand.
Okay. So that's
I'm even fine with it.
That we all know. And then, by the way, just now that the hearing is over, and you can also fact check this, they now at the end of the preliminary hearing dropped like an insane amount of the discovery stuff they gave to them like the week after. You guys can give me the exact amount. I don't want to say because I don't know my I don't remember how much it was. It was an absurd amount of stuff that they gave to them right after the preliminary hearing that they had been asking for. Because that was one of the things that I kept saying on my show is as we were watching that preliminary of the preliminary, why not just give them the stuff now so they can engage in these arguments? Because I feel like it's like, I want to hear what they have to say about the text messages. Why can't you just give them what they're asking for so that they can actually engage you? And it didn't happen. So, but the judge ruled that it wasn't necessary at this stage. And that was the whole point of that
because it's
preliminary to the preliminary. Yeah.
Would you like to play the Kathy video?
Well, he's saying he's not disagreeing, so I don't think we need
There's
to.
no point here.
There's no
Okay.
disagreement
All right.
that she said that.
Yeah.
So so I guess the disagreements
also,
now would move into the
I
evidences that you have stated on the record, which transcend elements of reason.
Why are we having
a
transcendental conversation now? Because
because
first,
they're all
because
related to this case.
your entire thing was about looking at the evidence, which never made sense to me, again, because all of the evidence that you felt to be overwhelming was hearsay. That was bizarre to me.
You told me that I could take as much time as I wanted to question you on these things.
I'm just asking you just to lay the groundwork of what you're saying is
because
problematic, that
you
decide that it trips into something else. And I do still want to hold you for going through, because we've discussed the gun, we've discussed your...
and you can hold me to those things, but I would like to get into the things that you've said.
We should discuss the screwdriver as well.
So, and I'll explain exactly what the groundwork is. When you make claims which pass the idea of I'm just asking questions because the state's evidence is not convincing, I think you have to answer for those claims because they are in regards to this case. You're saying, I have a claim. It is in regards to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what we're talking about, not just the case of Charlie Kirk, his assassination. You should have to answer for the claims that you've made in regards to the assassination itself. You should. Yeah, agreed. So if that's the case, then I would like to finally dive into some of that evidence and dive into it.
Well, just to be clear, and I'm happy to have you talk about, like I said, publicly, you want to engage in some conspiracies, but I said I want to make sure that we get to the substance of our debate. The substance of our debate
is the major
is me demonstrating that all of the quote unquote evidence that you feel that you have, which demonstrates that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
You don't find convincing. I get it.
It's been invalidated by the testimony that we saw. And in your answer for when I explained to you that he had the most degraded prints was, I don't know. Okay, well, there lies my ability to process that.
It's just fine for you to not be convinced up to this point. All of your viewers, everybody watching, you're conceding. Nobody's giving a dispute that if all your claims ever were just up to now, the evidence that the state's given, I'm just kind of not convinced. That is not what's been happening. What's actually been happening is that you've made tons of claims in regards to this case and in regards to the Kirk assassination, which are far above and beyond, I just doubt, the state's theory.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sure.
And those are the things that
I do doubt the state's theory. I also am welcome to say what I think. If you want to move into opinions, if you want to talk about Erica Kirk, if you want to talk about Turning Point USA,
I'd like to talk about all
and
of
get
it.
into it, I'm totally happy to do that. But I just want to say that, like, I do not feel, because I've said what's important to me is that we exhaust this topic first of our actual debate claims. I do not feel that you sufficiently have argued that the evidence is overwhelming.
I'm sorry.
Candace, question for you.
But I am sorry you feel that way.
Candace, one question. What evidence do you need to see for you to say Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
That's a great question. So I actually expected in this preliminary hearing, actually, the inverse of what he was saying is true, right? So this is now the time the state is putting on their evidence. That's the purpose of this hearing, right? The state is using hearsay, but they're also putting on their evidence. So I was just expecting some sort of a slam dunk. Like, we got him on camera taking the shot. At least we have him clear on camera. You're telling me this guy drove 13 hours all around. Like, we can definitely show you a picture that it's going to be beyond a reasonable doubt before we even get to the trial. People are going to see and go, oh crap, like it was really Tyler Robinson. I was expecting to at least see evidence that, because I had reported early on that the source was saying that Tyler did not step foot on campus that day. It is my perspective that he had something to do with something. I do believe he was disposing clothes at this stage, at this phase. I do believe he was disposing clothes. He was involved somehow. I find Lance to be more suspicious, if I'm being honest with you. And also, like I said, the use immunity that was given to Lance by the feds, the fact that the feds didn't ask him any questions, the fact that I spoke with Lance Twiggs' family, and they were like, it's very weird that the feds are not asking him more questions. He's exactly the person that I would imagine to be involved in some stuff. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But when we got to the preliminary hearing, there was not a single piece of evidence that I felt was slam dunk. I was waiting for that, a photo. I mean, anything would have made me go, all right, I think this could be the guy. If they had handed over the discovery on the text messages, since that was their big ta-da, we've got the text messages, that would be the first thing that I would hand over. But actually, who was holding them up? Like I said, it wasn't the prosecution. They're right to say we were handing things over, and we heard the defense argue on behalf of the prosecution, saying it's not them and it's not the SBI, it's the FBI that's holding on to things. As the FBI took everything. The FBI took the gun. The FBI took initially the screwdriver. And then when I heard testimony about the things that they found that were suspicious, example being the backpack, that's something that really bothers me, that they say they traced the shooter, they traced the route that he went on, and then there was an we know it looks like he's wearing some sort of a backpack. We know that there was an abandoned backpack found at the bus stop in front of a library, and they felt that this should be taken into evidence. They took it. The FBI, this was the testimony of Amanda Baker, I believe her last name is, but you might want to fact check that because I think I'm blending last names. She was the forensics for the FBI. And then she says she gets a call on the 13th and they stop testing on this backpack because they find that the backpack actually belongs to somebody on Charlie's team. But if you know the map of the layout of the campus, you're going, well, what the hell are they doing all the way up? This is nowhere near anywhere. And by the way, that's not an acceptable answer for why you just gave it back. That's like, why would you give it back? You're acting like no one's ever been killed by somebody on their team before, right? So I found that to be very strange that it was on the exact route that the alleged gunman ran, and that their excuse was, we just gave it back because we heard that this belonged to somebody on Charlie's team. So that to me is, this is why the investigation itself feels underwhelming. When you learn, and this is completely crazy to me, that some of the artifacts that Charlie was wearing were immediately returned to Erica. That's absurd. That is absurd. Everything should be in evidence. When you learn that the car that they carried Charlie in to go to the hospital, they had immediately towed, cleaned, and back up for resale, that's absurd. That should be sitting in evidence. And any police officer that you speak to will say, or a person that's been involved in a crime will say, I didn't get my stuff back for years. It had nothing to do with anything. It was just around. And they kept it into evidence until the trial was over, and it has to be approved. I think somebody said by the attorney general has to sign off on giving you those objects back. And we were told this is all fine. And we see, this is just one example, Erica holding the crucifix. That should be in evidence. Irrespective of if you feel bad for her and think she should have it and it's sweet, that should be in evidence. Immediately paving over the crime scene. This is like the craziest thing ever. This like defies common sense. You immediately, and when you heard the guy who did it, actually go up on a podcast and explain, I got the call. They said it was a paver emergency. I've never in my entire career heard of a paver emergency. They had already had someone come up and dig up the dirt. So by the time he got there on Sunday, the dirt had already been dug up for him to lay down pavers. That is what people are looking at and going, this is weird. There needs to be answers for why this was done. And he tells us the call came from the feds and the governor's office. UVUs washed their hands of it. And what he's saying sounds true, because we heard during the testimony, one person described the regions of who was in control of everything. The feds were in control of the courtyard. So in order for anybody to have paved anything, that was federal territory, so to speak. I'm maybe not using that in the best cop term, but the feds were in control of the courtyard. So these are things that I think should be answered for. Why are we doing things differently than you would in any other criminal scenario of keeping the evidence until we know more, until we're confident, the various decoys. I did it. It just doesn't look right.
Okay, so go back to the question. So what would you need to see for you to say
something? If they had, I was expecting, here we have him, he took the shot, here it is. And then I'd be like, great, a clear image of him on the staircase where I'm like, that's definitively Tyler Robinson and he was on campus. We got nothing. We got literally nothing but hearsay of people saying.
But you basically get no case.
What?
You basically no case on planet Earth. You get the,
sure.
Oh, we got a picture. Okay, here's him with the murder weapon.
Right.
Here's him taking the shot.
Most of this doesn't take place on a college campus that has surveillance everywhere.
Yeah.
One clear image of his.
But I don't understand when you're
his
asked,
car plates.
If you're asked the question, what would it take to convince? It'd be the same question be asked to me. Andrew, what would it take to convince you that the oppositional is true, right? That he's a patsy or something like that. Just good, clear, concise evidence that's been presented, right? And is being presented that I could go through and link all together to see if there's actually some clear picture of there being a patsy. That's what it would take for me.
Okay.
Just
I don't disagree with that. We haven't heard the defense
just
respond.
a good evidentiary standard. And then, of course, I would change my mind.
So just to qualify this, so there is a possibility in the next few months that you may come out and say, guys, it's done. Tyler killed him. Yeah. So you're saying yes to that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the audience here that from
without question.
For you, is there anything that you could see for you to say, yeah, this guy was a patsy?
Of course, I'm going to always follow evidence.
Perfect.
So my whole thing is just this. It's really important to me. I don't mind people being truth seekers and justice searchers, and the internet has helped solve tons of crimes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? However, there's also people who, they not only don't solve crimes, but they just come up with conjecture and what's called flooding the zone. You flood the zone with tons and tons of conspiracy-based ideas and they go nowhere, right? And in fact, they actually take away from legitimate investigation. Now, I'm not even saying anybody here is purposely flooding the zone. That's not even the claim. All I'm saying is that the claims made absent, this is just me not being convinced by the state's evidence. Those become claims, and claims have to be defended. Just like mine have to be defended, yours have to be defended. And that's what we're going to get to now, yeah?
You want to get into it? Would you guys like to take an ad break?
We'll take an ad break.
Sure. And then we'll talk Erica Kirk and TPUSA.
And the conspiracies that have been conjectured by Candace Owens in regards to this case in the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Folks, we'll take a 3.5 minute break and we'll be back soon.
All right, you guys, you have probably seen all the buzz around.
To create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany. No purpose, no true Italian craftsmanship. Each pair is touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rush, not disposable.
Nasers got that still spine, but her words like silk. Calm the whole block when the tension's built. She seen the struggle from the streets to the pain, but she talks real talk, no fake, no game. With that disciplined air, she'll call out the bluff, make your face.
The beautiful thing about these events,
this the gospel of vibe, no suits, no fakes.
You know how quickly it goes?
Yeah, no snakes, no breaks. We spit that like truth this. From the block to the sky. Gospel of vibe,
everybody ready to get started.
Walker don't play, he's slick with the cut. One notch to the back, yeah, you out, no strut. He seen the corner where the hustlers creep, but he flips that mic, keeps the convo deep. He'll drop a line like he's dropping a dime. time. Streetwise host, but the show still prime. He got that voice that'll make you stay. But don't test him, he'll send you away. It's the gospel of Bob, no suits, no fakes, just real ones here, no snakes, no breaks. We spit that truth from the block to the sky. Gospel of Bob, where the real ones ride. Black bear stand tall, flag on his chest, from the block to the stars. He reps the best. Seen the grind, seen the hustle from the red to the blue, but he brings us all back. Yeah, that's what he do. He talks that pride, but it ain't just show. He's all about the people from the high to the low. Black Bear's vibe is the truth, no doubt. He's the one who reminds what it's all about. Fly high, but he knows the block. Pilot of the show, but he keeps it rock. Peppermint mocha in the grind, don't stop. But he built this spot for the whole damn block. He's seen the hustle, yeah, he knows that life. But he opens the door, no hate, no strife. Bob's got the key, but he shares that wealth. Gospel of Bob, where we all find gospel of Bob. No suits, no fakes, just real ones here. No snakes, no breaks. We spit that truth from the block to the sky. Gospel of Bob, where the real ones ride.
Nothing to fear. God bless.
Many times when people think about valuetainment, all they think about is podcasts, but it's a lot more than that. It's 9 companies working together on an 11-acre campus. If I was to give you virtual proof here, you'll see in charge of hiring, talent acquisition. We have full stack developers that are working on the next empire. We have a full-fledged events team that puts together events for thousands of people. We have a merch department designed to make products. We just launched all these shoes made in Italy. We have a marketing department. And if you go to the complete opposite side of the building, 50, 60 people
something to talk about.
Then you can drive down a couple miles and go to our private boardroom cigar lounge with members only. Regardless of what it is, working at Valuetainment every day is a surprise. You could be walking into work and right next to you is a governor, is a billionaire, is an athlete. We are hiring aggressively, but Valuetainment isn't for everybody. For the right person, this could be the last company you ever work for. So if you're watching this and you want to learn more, go to vt.com/careers and apply now.
Live from the candy cave, baby.
We'll be right back. Y'all let me know who y'all think is winning the debate. I've been watching it from the beginning, and they're agreeing on most of the points, but Candace is trying to just say it's a patsy. She has no evidence. All he's asking is, where is the evidence? And she hasn't brought none up. She keeps on over talking him, just like a woman. It's about to come back. We'll be back in a minute, y'all. If y'all over there on X and y'all listening, come over here to YouTube. Come to the Gospel of Bob and subscribe. If you're over there on Kick, come to the Gospel of Bob and subscribe. You come through this weekend, we're gonna have something to talk about with Nazis. We talk about a variety of things over here. So if y'all want to, if you're on X and you want to come over here to YouTube, come hit the like, share, subscribe. We'll talk about the debate later on. Yes, I agree with that, Bob. Yeah, so if y'all in X land, y'all come over here to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We have conversations about everything over here. So if y'all want to, just come to YouTube and hit that like, share, subscribe. Right now we're watching the Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens debate. She hasn't. She in my opinion, she's been caught in a couple things. You know, if you read the chat was going rewinding the video back and catching her in a couple things. She tried to say that Andrew Wilson was basing his claim off of a blurry picture, but then when he brings up the tweet, she left out everything else that he thinks is evidence, and that substantiates Tyler Robinson as, you know what I mean. Well, at least him being deleted by a bullet. She keeps on saying a projectile, a projectile, a projectile. You know, so she has no evidence whatsoever. The evidence that he's bringing up, the evidence that they do bring up, it's like she didn't even know that Tyler Robinson had text his boyfriend and said, "Yeah, that's definitely me on the camera." See, I'm not saying how it was said, but he said something about, yes, it's me on the cameras. You know, you're gonna see me on the camera. So she just has feelings and dreams. She said, you know, she had a dream that he came to her. But they should be getting back to it. If y'all enjoying the content, y'all enjoying it, hit the like, share, like button wherever you're at, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're X or Kick. Hit the subscribe button. Come over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it later. And we're just waiting for the debate to continue. This might be over with. After this round, it might be over with. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Bob says she is dodging obstruction charge. Bob, have you been watching the whole thing? What do you think? Let me know what you think about the debate so far. Let me know who you think's winning. Let me know. Let me know what I'm not gonna remember everything. I ain't gonna lie, but I do. For the most part, is he's bringing evidence. For the most part, she's just, she doesn't know too much of nothing about, how the mechanics of firearms and stuff works, and he's trying to break it down to her. She don't want to hear that. It said Bob said it's underwhelming. Yeah, Candace is I listened to I listened to like a little bit of everybody. Hell, I listened to Willie D earlier today. And he's just an idiot too. But Candace, you if you go back and watch some of her old talking points and stuff like that, she was all on the left. She was a leftist. And she just changed her points just a little bit, So of course, in my opinion, I think she's a grifter. You know what I mean? So let me know y'all thoughts.
Okay, so we're officially back. Andrew, before we go into the other issues you want to talk about, is it fair to say you're good defending your position of the overwhelming evidence?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. You take the lead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So no traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to ask them direct. And I think that as long as they're not loaded, if they're loaded, you should not respond yes or no. But as long as they're not loaded, if I just directly ask them, I'm hoping that you'll just give me a direct answer. So here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims, and then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a conversation with you about other things that I've discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason, you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
You literally said that I want to be able to question you.
Well, this is a meta conversation.
Right, but okay, so now we're transcending. Like, let's use a word to use a word that you're saying. But this is what you're doing, right? Okay. So this part to me feels like a bit of.
Am I allowed to ask the questions?
I've already said you can ask questions, but I made it very clear to you via email and with you in conversation that we should be speaking. This isn't like you get to sit. If you want to depose me, you should join Brigitte Macron's defense team. But you're like, I'm just going to ask questions. Can you answer it? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And I'm going to answer as I see fit because I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Just so we're clear.
Usually in the debate, if something's not loaded, I'm just direct.
Because you kept saying I'm Joe Rogan. They have no evidence. They have no evidence. And now you're like, let's move away from the evidence. Just talk about transcendentals.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So direct question, super easy. Was Lance Twiggs DNA on the rifle as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were on.
So that would be no as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know for certain.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say that for certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say, you're just going to come up against the wall. I'm familiar with this debate strategy.
But I am just
yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still definitely debating. This is still.
No, it's not a debate. This is you saying I want to probe things that sit outside of the evidence. I actually already addressed this. You asked me. You're not going to go like you're sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great. Let's
you can have a conversation as we've agreed to.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
positive evidence.
It was told to me
Mhm.
by somebody who is high up in the French government. I passed off that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office. I also passed it off to Trump's office, Donald Trump's office.
Mhm.
And that's all I can tell you. I wouldn't be able to probe any evidence because I don't have the power to do that. I'm not the federal government. And I would also like to say that this becomes this other piece of what you do, which is when people say, this, I was told this, and this is the evidence that I have, and I'm willing to have that conversation and write the email to the correct government body that deals with this. Like, I can't hack into Emmanuel Macron's bank accounts and say whether or not the
I
information
agree.
but then you go, well, where's your evidence? It's like, well, my evidence is that I reported it. I did the right thing that you're going to do. So if somebody calls and says, hey, Andrew, there's a viable death threat against you, and that person definitively has the rank to be able to tell you this, and you say, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to report that to the feds. And then I go, what's your evidence? It's like, well, I got the information and I gave the information that I got from who I got it to the right body of people. And that's what I did.
Got it. I just want
Cool.
to make sure.
And so
I'm not trying to trap you.
Well,
I just want to make sure I got it clear.
And that's why I say I want to know what you're doing now, because this has always been the thing. It's like, we actually can't win on the overwhelming claim. So we're just going to go and bring up everything that I think can try to embarrass her. I reported exactly as I
I'm not
received
trying to embarrass
it.
you. I just want to make sure that I get your
Yes,
positions clear.
I have not said, yeah, go ahead.
Now, you have stated multiple times that you believe that Israel's involved in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Can you give
yes,
me...
we can pull up the clip.
Can
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I finish the sentence?
Go ahead.
Can you give me the context for what are you talking about? Like, when I say, generally speaking, why people think that Israel's involved?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where's your question?
Yeah. Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
Well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive, because he was fired up about politics, which Lance testified that he never spoke about with him, nor do I believe that he was, so into LGBTQ issues, since Lance testified they never spoke about LGBTQ issues, that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which, if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because,
Yeah, but do you have positive evidence?
I'm answering the question as I feel like I want to answer it. Like I said, you don't get to, for an hour and a half, pepper
But the question I'm
questions and
asking is
tell me.
about positive
I'm
evidence.
telling you that in any case, establishing a motive, and and again, I already explained this at the top of the show, but the reason why people find Israel to be an interesting question is because, truthfully, Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, rather than rabid claiming he never flinched and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, I mean, not even that. It's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then, other
Israel.
than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why people think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis, there were also, obviously
Ian
Joe
Carroll
Kent.
made the claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe they were students, and they were Israeli students in Utah that day. But we'd like to probe that narrative, because what we've seen after, coming from the Israeli government, the Israeli prime minister, kind of denying that he did it, which wasn't really necessary, was quite busy. The phone call that happened, which no one wants to discuss, in the Hamptons the week prior, or not the week prior, I think it was around August 5th or 6th that took place. And again, the almost desperate lies about Charlie shifting opinion on Israel lead us to believe that there could be an Israeli angle in this. But we cannot say for certainty that Israel called the shots and this is how it happened. But it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like to see.
There's
pulled.
no positive evidence.
Whatever you want to say, however, positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Well, positive evidence
I can just
would
have
be
a conversation.
Material evidence and other evidences, which would
what
point
we've said is on our show is what we've said, which is this feels like a conspiracy building. There's no reason to lie about these things, and yet people are lying. BB ain't acting right. The Hamptons thing was weird, and the way they tried to shove the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died, posting a picture of him with an American and Israeli AI'd photo on the president's feed. Doesn't feel right. So
Do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that I have evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Okay. So then you don't believe that they did.
I never have said that statement. So I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, fair.
Your team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is. Yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candace said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah. He said evidence that they killed him. I said this is why people think they're involvement.
So
if they have the clip, they can play the clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Yeah. Via whom? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority. How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm going to put that out there with full confidence.
Okay.
I also involvement.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you think you with full confidence, you think that
I think Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah. I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day.
Mhm.
Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you don't
United
have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right
think,
to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim,
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think. And
yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed
saying,
to think,
do you have
but you're
positive
making a
evidence?
claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think. Yes.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So
nobody's disputing whether or not Candace Owens is allowed to think. What I'm asking is
but
you have
what's your issue then? What is your issue with the statement?
evidence.
I think that Israel is involved.
That's not just what you said. You said
I did say I think.
It's with full confidence.
Yes.
You would think that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence
to think when you think?
If I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right? With full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew.
That's how you would know whether or not you had full
I'm just going
confidence.
to tell you something.
Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
Let me finish. If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right? And I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with evidence.
I actually don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do.
They're allowed pertinent to this debate.
It's not exactly pertinent to this debate.
100% pertinent.
It's not pertinent because our debate
These are claims made about Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's the complete substance of the debate.
No, actually, would you like to remind him of what our debate claims actually were?
And would you like to remind you said I could ask you about any of these things to my heart's content?
Feel free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me why are you allowed to think.
I'm not structuring how you're allowed to reply. I'm just asking you direct questions.
I have full confidence that you do not feel that you represented your claim well. And so now what you came prepared to do is to present yourself like a professor of fallacies.
I just want to know.
And to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't.
You can say whatever you want. Nobody's disputing that. I'm asking.
It seems like you are disputing
I'm asking
I think that when this is all said and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this why I think Israel is ultimately going to be proven to have involvement in this. I just explained to you in the middle, and now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to. You're just allowed to think. And I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to structure it in a sentence. If you feel like a professor today, you picked the wrong day.
Don't you think that like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candace Owens' positive evidence for why it is that Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's lifetime is?
That's why they watch my podcast.
So you're just going to drip to them? Like, here's why I think
dripping.
that?
Every time we come across any of these discussions, they're watching this in context and they know why I'm saying it. So, for example, when you're bringing up, well, Candace, where's your evidence for France doing this? I just told you someone who is high ranking in the French government, right?
Who's nameless.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
But
so there's good reason to doubt
it's not a
this.
conspiracy, though, if I then took it to the federal government. Like, you can't just go out there making a claim to the federal government. You get in trouble for making false statements and things of that nature. So, and then you go, well, I'm going to probe that. Well, how can you probe that? This happened to me.
I can ask you, well,
this
that's
is
not
my
what I'm probing
podcast.
specifically.
This is my podcast. I am sharing my life and my experiences and what has happened to me. And you're basically coming in like you're going to, regulate how I'm allowed to say it, if
I'm not trying to regulate
say
anything. I'm asking
you're
very pertinent
you're sounding
questions.
a bit like a professor trying to regulate and say, Candace,
you sound
you
very
can't
defensive
say, I think.
and like you just don't want to answer questions.
I did answer your question 3
You
times. I just didn't
literally-
say it in the way that you wanted
you
me to
just
say
kind
it.
of obfuscate and you run away from it. But I would like for you to actually
let's just go through
focus
every
on it.
clip that you guys have prepared, because it's pretty. I think with full confidence, people will recognize the strategy that you're trying to employ. So let's get to the next clip you have prepared.
Sure, they can pull up whatever clips they
whatever
want.
it is that you guys have prepared. So
But I would still. On this point, I just want to make sure that you have full confidence that France and Israel were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I think in
and
the end,
you have no evidence for it at all that you'll give us.
Well, I already did tell you where it came from. Like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't understand
Did
it
that
for
same
you. So
higher up tell you that he was
to,
going to kill, or that France killed Charlie Kirk, or just that you were in danger?
They said that the French Foreign Legion was involved and on the ground that day. I've already said that. You just don't like hearing it.
No.
Candace, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
when you pass down that message to a Tulsi or Trump,
Tulsi's office, yes.
Tulsi's office, are you giving them who told you that, or you're just saying, here's what I heard from somebody?
I have this information.
Sure.
And of course, if they wanted to open a file on it, which I thought was quite mysterious, that Trump's office never got back to us. It was kind of weird about maybe they're not the correct office to. I did receive a response from Tulsi Gabbard's office, but I don't think there was ever any investigation into what I said.
So the call was, hey, I've been
Emailed.
told the email.
Yes.
Email was, I've been told
I have information. That the French Foreign Legion was on the ground during Charlie's assassination. And that, it was a lot of information, but
you didn't give specifics who it was from.
Not in the first email, because I figured they would
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if they do contact you,
100,
are you
yes.
comfortable giving 100% who it is?
I would absolutely give them as much information
can I ask
as
a
possible.
question? If whoever's the U.S. government, why are you not?
Yes, it's very strange to me.
So if that's the case, now they may respond back and say, we did, that's their position.
That's why I did it in writing.
And so I'm glad that's the case.
Yes.
Because so if they
and
do
right
ask
away in
you,
Trump's office, Margot got right back to me. She said it was on his desk. So he has that. There's no.
And if you do say that and they contact that individual, obviously you don't have to leak your sources here. Is there enough credibility where that person would be willing to talk to them and explain to them exactly what their sources are?
Yes.
Okay. It
seems reasonable. And so why he's asking me to defend that is
I'm not. Never
Okay.
did.
I think those are two different things. That's more
Two
something I'm
totally
asking
different
to say,
claims.
why are they not reaching out to you?
I've asked that many times on my podcast.
What do you think about that, Andrew?
What?
The fact that she emailed, she gave it, and nobody reached out to want to contact the
They
source.
probably didn't think it was actionable, is my guess. But even if they did think it was actionable, great. Every lead should be followed up on within the confines of what's rational and reasonable.
Is it fair to say that this is maybe a different individual because this is a person that was involved with TPUS and had a relationship with Charlie?
Who?
No, her relationship. This isn't just anybody. So if an average person sends it, yes.
Yeah, but we don't know who the source is. We don't know any of this.
Then if you were in that department, wouldn't you want to, even you assign it to one of your guys?
There's no guarantee
say,
they didn't look into it. How do we know? We don't know.
How could they if they didn't come get
she didn't give
the
it to
information, more of the information? Because it
And
was a
by the way,
long file.
Yeah. This is a separate. This has
Did
got
you
nothing
send
to
them
do
the
with the
guy's
debate.
name?
This is more on.
Well, I sent the email, assuming that's you kept saying you go and you make a report. You think they're going to come back to you and say, "Hey, what's more information? We're investigating this," and that didn't happen, and which is what I raised.
No,
I
I'm
found
asking,
that,
did you send
especially
the source
because
of the
this was at
claim?
a time where they were saying that they wanted to explore every possible lead. I even texted Dan Bongino.
But
So actually, it was three offices.
Let me ask one
The
question.
executive
and then I'm gonna come to
office,
you.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino, and Tulsi Gabbard's office.
Okay, so a follow up to that is the following:
Mhm.
if they contact you to say, Is that specifically to the French government or Israel's involvement in the killing of Charlie Kirk?
That wasn't about
Those
Israel.
are two separate things.
That wasn't about Israel. It was,
Okay,
they were
got it.
saying the French foreign, that person as a part of it was saying that it was the French Foreign Legion that was on the ground that
So
day.
I'm surprised they haven't called you.
Then I find that to be very strange too.
I do as well.
Because who would want to make a report? Like, I mean, I've never made a report with the federal government.
Let me ask one question.
But
Let
when
me
you
just
did
ask one
send
question.
it,
Let me just ask one question, and I'm going to bring it to you.
Sure.
The question is in regards to, I've not seen that clip, so I'm seeing it now. I'm full confidence. I believe that Israel French was involved. Is that also based on a source that somebody told you that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or is that a gut feeling?
So in terms of Israel, I mean, what I've said is what I publicly have said here. I do think that at the end of this, we are going to find that Israel was involved. I do. Now, in terms of any of the hard evidence that's been presented, I think this has been a huge problem that a lot of us have had is that they won't even explore anything else that was going on in Charlie's life personally. So if we're not satisfied that Tyler Robinson did this in any way, then every alternative theory should be explored. Other evidence should be brought forward. We've done that in our capacity. Like when people keep saying she has no evidence, it's kind of crazy. I think we've broken like more stories than any news source in the world. I mean, down to pictures, details, police officers, what the dog's name was, because we're not the only people that believe there's a conspiracy here. The police officers that were involved, the many police, sheriff's offices, that were departments that were involved that day, all believe there was a conspiracy. Down to the U.S. Marshals believe there was a conspiracy. They were, my sources at the U.S. Marshals were saying they were basically sent on a wild goose chase that day.
But do you see how you say my sources?
You're not allowed to have sources.
Well,
like
the thing is funny.
So is CNN allowed to have sources?
Well, hang on. I have sources. If I said I have sources that claim none of that's true. In fact, my sources claim that her sources are lying. My sources claim that none of them believe that there's a conspiracy. My sources claim all of them really think that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. If I just said that as hypothetical, wouldn't you say, what?
Yeah, I think what probably adds weight is like then when I drop photos of the car that no one was supposed to see, people go, okay, her sources are legit. So, and then when what I say is then proven in court and nobody knew those things, people are recognizing that my sources are legit. When I say Charlie was scared in the last days, and then I dropped the text message, which you've just learned about a couple of weeks ago, of him saying he was leaving the pro-Israel cause when everyone was lying about that, then they say, I think Candace's sources are legit. So I think what's happened is I've actually built up a rapport with my audience that it's not vibes and dreams. And that's why they keep watching my content, because like, for example, when I just the other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So I've proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that, they all believe that there's a conspiracy going on, which is actually what your claim is now. How would that actually, hang on, I'm almost done.
How would that, talking to PVD
how would that legitimize, well, it's not his debate. How would it legitimize these sources that even if it's the case that you get some court footage or some things like this, why would it legitimize that your sources are telling you all the marshals believe it's a conspiracy, all the police believe it's a conspiracy, everybody believes it? How would that legitimize any of that?
Well, what I am saying to you, and you are not forced to believe it. So let me just explain what I was answering here. And I think that you understood what I was saying, is I have, because people trust me, compiled a lot of information and presented it to the public. And this information has been proven true. We've presented photos, we have presented videos, never before seen stuff. The public has never seen it. And so what that does is your audience goes, okay, when she says that she has these sources, clearly she's telling the truth. Now, whether you would then go, well, I'm going to believe her when she says they think that there's a conspiracy, that's up to you. You cannot watch my content. I'm not here to tell you that you have to watch my content or believe everything I'm saying.
Well, don't you think questioners should get questioned as well?
By who? I'm not committing a crime, am I? By just like saying what I think and collecting
aren't
evidence.
most of the people you ask questions of not actually committing crimes?
But what do you mean they should answer questions where? Like at a police station? Like
no,
what are you
just
saying?
like if you want people to come in and answer questions for you. I have questions about this in the investigation. I have questions about this. I have questions about that. You want them to answer your questions. Doesn't it seem totally fair that you answer back the questions people have for you?
Well, they're not answering our questions. So it's also fair that they don't answer them.
So you're
that's
okay,
why I said
so
Andrew Colvett should be in this chair. He's not.
But
That's
isn't that isn't that a double standard?
No, it's not, because he's not doing it.
Yeah, but that would still be a double standard. If you're requesting that he does do it, then that seems to infer that you think he owes you answers.
Oh, so inferences are allowed again?
And they never weren't. So that seems to infer that you think that he owes you answers. If that's the case, then don't you owe answers?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm answering your questions and his questions about, I mean, I'm talking about Andrew Colbert. His position is he's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. So when the crowd turns against Turning Point USA on the basis of a lack of information or because there has been, I don't know, seeds sown of distrust, I would imagine, and forget answering my questions because it doesn't need to be me.
But aren't you sowing a lot of those seeds of distrust?
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job themselves, if I'm being honest. You can blame it on Candace all you want.
Well,
people love to do that.
The thing is funny is
people act like I'm
I
ground
think their
zero.
PR, I'll be fair with you.
Ground zero of people not trusting Turning Point USA.
I think that there was some PR there. I think there was some PR there. Sure, they could have done better. Absolutely. I'm not disputing any of that. One thing, though, that I want to just directly ask you is, do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions. I would at this phase. I would.
Okay,
so
well, what does that
hypothetical,
mean? Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right? And the fact that that was never even considered, that like I said earlier, the backpack was returned.
How do you know that was never considered?
Because they gave back the backpack as just one example. They gave back the backpack. They gave back the.
That doesn't show a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't just hold things up for a second.
They ruled them out as suspects
that quickly. I'm not comfortable with that investigation. It's a pretty big organization. There's $100 million incentive. This is
what $100 million incentive.
What I'm saying is his organization, it had grown to, I think it was 100
plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want to factor.
Yeah, but what was
your team wants to play video? If you don't mind,
Yeah,
there's a video they want to play of Candace said it's impossible to not believe Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Could also just ask.
And so right now their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, yes, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because
those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say complicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay, so what's she complicit in?
Yes, so sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in and
tell
debate.
me,
So
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping
What
it
does
up.
complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. And Erica, when she is asked, "Are you one? Do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she says, "I do." Then again, context matters. I sit down with Erica for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? I'm like, this is why I did not engage in any Erica, everyone's questioning what she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because I don't know, just it feels weird to think that, did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not, you can't convict somebody on weird mannerisms. And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. That's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. It was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her complicit?
Complicit. And again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show.
Okay.
So we call her lawyer, and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says, no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public, and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand, how would any of this make her complicit and in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut
How
case.
is she trying to fool the public into this? If she believes
like, don't look anywhere else.
If she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right. But so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it seem like I said she was complicit.
Everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like why?
Because we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to watch.
Well, I'm going to go back to my theory that you didn't feel confident that you could defend your claim that it was overwhelming evidence. So now you're trying to move towards doctored clips and getting me to respond to it.
There's no doctored anything. I'm just making sure that we got this right.
Yes,
that what you're actually saying is that Erica is just complicit in believing it.
When I re-examined her actions backward, because I did not have this perspective of her at the beginning, which is why it's so funny to me that you guys make it seem like I'm ground zero. People thought Erica was sus from day I forgive him. And I was not a part of that. I did not lean into that. I did not contribute to that. I was getting actually terrible messages from my fans being like, Candace, you and Charlie always say to go with your intuition. You won't address this, how we all feel about her. Things changed for me when I saw that Zoom call. I will tell you that. For sure. And the fact that she lied to me. So I sat across from her and, I wanted to have that conversation publicly, but they're probably grateful they didn't do it publicly. She told me some lies. And so the next thing that happens naturally when somebody lies to you, when any person lies to you, whether it's a toddler, people only lie when they're trying to obscure something else.
Have you addressed what that lie was?
Yeah, I've talked about, we have a list of lies that we've been told by Charlie. We can find that,
I'm sure. In the meeting with her.
Well, no, I didn't want her to cage up. I didn't want to do this, and because I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know if she was going to be like, I'm so overwhelmed with everything, and I don't know who to trust in the organization, and I don't know what I'm doing. Like I didn't know. I didn't want to.
Just out of curiosity, before anything happened with Charlie, how close were you and Erica?
Not very close.
So there's not a relationship.
No, I would say it's totally normal. Like it's not like there was any issues at all. We were always nice to each other. It just is our life went to a different phase, right? So Charlie and I hitting the ground, running around, traveling 4 days a week. Now I get married. I find love of my life. I get married and I get pregnant. I've been pregnant. I haven't stopped being pregnant. And what you want out of life changes. You don't want to be running around for 4 days a week and traveling on a plane nonstop. You suddenly want to start building at home and live. I was desiring that suburban life.
Did you guys ever do the double dates? You, George, her, and Charlie? Was there ever double dates between the four of you?
I was, engaged to George quickly. We were planning our wedding. I was kind of in my bubble with George. George traveled with me and Charlie, but Erica and him were just starting to date at the beginning of 2019. George and I were planning our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So George really got to know Charlie. I wouldn't say that I really got to know Erica. I was just rooting for them because I knew how much Charlie wanted to, find love. And so I was kind of his wing woman throughout that phase. And I was just happy. And never was under the impression, obviously, that they were going to get married when they were dating. So it wasn't like I was conscious. I really need to get to know this person. And so it was just kind of normal that by that time, because of where I was in my life, that I wasn't spending any time getting to know Erica per se.
So the complicit part about Erica to you, is that a gut feeling? You think
it transformed when she lied?
You can take the lead. I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. Go for it.
I actually don't. I still don't understand what you think she's complicit in.
Yeah. So when I say Erica's complicit, that's my opinion. When you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband,
yeah.
Would you like to explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew? So, and what, and by the way, and
like,
what dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after going to the headquarters? Because you were pretty hostile about.
I wasn't hostile towards them.
You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No, come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek. Yeah. Like, for instance, you got supporters. I mean, if you want to use the same exact argument, you would take a supporter like Owen Benjamin. He called you bad names and called your husband bad names. You're just like, well, that's no biggie.
I've never answered him on anything that he said. I'm saying that you now are her biggest defender. So do you still think she's
I'm not her biggest defender?
Do you still think she's too retarded?
No. I didn't know Erica Kirk. I'd never met her before.
Okay, but you had an issue with Turning Point being led by a bunch of fembots talking about the feminist angle.
Still do.
And then suddenly you go to the headquarters.
Still think it's a terrible idea.
You go into the headquarters. Now all of a sudden you've got text messages that you're sharing with them. You say that you and your wife are getting involved with management.
No. I'm not involved in any management at Turning Point.
Well, I'm pretty sure there is a clip of you where you say that your wife went to their recent conference and sat down. And then when you were on Joe Rogan.
No. Hang on. I'll explain what happened just so that you understand.
Yeah.
So I was invited there to do some debate training. That's literally what I was invited there to do on recommendation. So I went down and did some debate. That's the first time I ever met anybody at TPUSA.
Okay. And then you said you sat down with Erica.
Well, I didn't sit down to her. I talked to her in a hallway.
So you didn't sit down and speak with Erica?
No, I didn't have like some sit down long conversation. We talked in a hallway.
Okay. Is that when you gave her the hug?
Yeah, gave her the hug right there. My wife did too. We were both very sorry for what happened.
Okay, so at what point did you start receiving text messages from that you cited in your opening statement?
Oh, I just reached out to TPUSA and said, I'm prepping for a debate. Is there anything that's pertinent that I can use here?
Do you find it interesting that people have been asking for, basic answers to questions, and you're saying that you walked into their headquarters and reached out and they instantly...
It's amazing, isn't it? If you reach out in good faith and you're not demonizing them and saying that they're complicit in the murder of people's deaths, that perhaps they're actually willing to release things to you that are pertinent, other than thinking that, perhaps you're diabolical.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
intentions.
If I was going to release that information, I didn't demand that it be released to me. I actually never demanded that it be released. I just simply said that this is what was going on in the last 48 hours. Maybe to the media, they could release it. They could release it to PBD. They decided to release it to a guy that called Erica too retarded in June.
So what?
Yeah, I just think it kind of shows that Turning Point is sending you as their horse.
Well, I don't know.
They don't have the courage to have the conversation. If they were just releasing something in good faith to answer questions.
Do you have any
I've never
evidence
demanded
of that claim?
It's not evidence that you're sharing your opinion that she's too retarded. I can't share my opinion that I think it's going to register as really obvious to the public, that rather than presenting that throughout the course of everybody wanting to know what Charlie was going through his last days, they decided to give it to you to come to my house as some sort of a surprise.
Well,
do you think the public's not smart enough to see through that?
Do you think that if you
talking about terrible PR,
if you know that there's a huge debate that's coming up that's going to be probably one of the most viewed that year, and one of the debaters calls you and says, I'm taking this position. This is the position that I feel like there's the most evidence for. And Candace also agreed to answer many of my questions in regards to this. So if you got pertinent evidence here that I can use, I definitely like take a look. It was actually amazing to me. It really was actually amazing to me how if you approach people in good faith and just say, hey, I'd actually like to know what the facts and details are around this, they actually do talk to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just do not believe, that you that they are doing this in good faith. I don't believe that anything you have done has demonstrated that's in good faith. It demonstrates that you walked into Turning Point USA headquarters and came out a different man because you were critical of the organization. You were critical of Erica, and now you're sitting here going,
Well,
Candace, I want to interrogate you for an hour and a half about everything you've ever said about Erica. Have you ever been
critical of somebody that you hadn't met, and then you meet them and you're less critical of them?
And the inverse has happened too. I was less critical about Erica, and now I'm more critical about her.
But I'm asking you, isn't it the case that there's people you've been critical of, and then you've met them and you're less critical after you meet them?
Too retarded. I feel like if you think that she's dumb and let's just talk about your record. I mean, you're a person that has spent time in what most people would term to be the manosphere, talking about well, yeah.
I debate against
against feminists
and red pillars.
Okay.
And a lot of the actual. So I'm a Christian ethicist.
And then you go on to Joe Rogan, and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon. Like, you just go into the headquarters and you just shift all of your perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism. Like, nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
Yeah, I'm actually
You're in the biggest of the girl boss positions. Like, you don't have to do this. You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine, right? But you still do.
I would say that you are making a comparison that cannot be compared because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense. Why should we take the organization over?
No, it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Yeah, because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent, and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office.
You want to protect your husband's legacy, right? And you're trying to find some new normal.
The legacy is his children, not the organization.
It's both.
No,
yes, it is both. It's totally rational and reasonable to believe that it would be both Turning Point USA. That is part of Charlie Kirk's legacy. He worked his whole life for it.
I think this is why people think she's sus.
And his children. Now, for you, though, to say that anybody's a girl boss, right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you brought up this idea that I'm defending some feminist nonsense. I'm not. I'm pointing out that they're by the way,
she's not qualified to take over his company.
There's always objective outliers to each situation. In fact, it's the exception that proves the rule. And the interesting thing here is, like, I'm still just as critical of feminism inside of TPUSA as I've always been. And I'm just as critical of any pro-Zionist position as I've ever been. None of that's ever changed. By the way, I would think it's the most rational, reasonable thing on planet Earth to do if you wanted to actually see an organization change, to try to work with leadership or reach out to leadership to try to do so. Doesn't that make the most amount of sense?
I would like to state for the record that I think Erica is underqualified to run the organization. Sure. And on the more emotional aspects, I agree with what seems to be a majority opinion, because I'm not gonna say it's scientific, that any woman that would leave her kids and go right into the office after their husband was publicly assassinated does not have their priorities straight.
Okay, well, I understand that you can have those criticisms, but I'm not understanding still how that would make her complicit.
I don't have to keep answering the same question.
Okay,
so let's
feel like you got an answer to how it's complicit.
Your team is asking to play a clip, so if we want to play this clip to just finish this segment on the Erica Kirk topic, we can spend some time on that as well. So if you guys are ready in the back, we're ready.
And causing that 30-06 diameter, as would happen with a pet and explosives, as we've demonstrated to you in the past, it accidentally, because of how Charlie was crouched, went up and hit his neck. And that ruined everything. That ruined everything. It was problematic. It's the reason why Terrell then had to scramble to get the cameras down, because they were never supposed to see it. They could have said reasonably that a 30-06 got eaten by Charlie, much more reasonably, obviously, than saying that the chicken bones in his neck stopped it because he ate vegetables. They panicked. That's why Terrell's nervous on the phone with me. Again, this is my theory, and I am now very much sticking to it. Okay. They panicked. It's the reason Erica had to step out. That's why she would have gotten on the phone with Terrell so quickly, because I was going, why is Terrell saying, well, I didn't want Erica to relive, oh, that's why I did it. He didn't have an answer. He was nervous. It was crazy. But he acknowledged that he spoke to Erica immediately. Why did you speak to Erica immediately?
So do you believe that there was a shape charge that killed Charlie?
Hey, can I ask you why you keep starting clips mid-sentence?
probably to get to where the clip is.
No, it doesn't seem that way because you can always start a clip at the beginning of a sentence. Like you're just start of like it's completely out of context.
Wait,
But
I didn't
so
prepare the
in
clips, but
yeah, I think like,
I
it's
didn't,
like you
but
were
it's
kind of
fine
ready.
to ask it to back
Like
it up.
I said, I don't need to say what's happening here because the internet will clock it. But in this episode, we are now going, and that's why I said we're now going to look at some alternative theories. I made it very clear that this was a theory that I didn't want to look at. This is, I believe, because I don't have every episode on my head, but I'm pretty sure this is an episode where we presented the evidence that was in the car, the photos of what was in the car, right? And so we are now inferring off of what we see in the car that this very much does look like that we see a bunch of shattered Rode microphone, which was an early theory that I was actually interested in, but couldn't really wrap my head around what was the shape charge explosive. As I say at the beginning of the episode, like it was just not my expertise. And I was concerning myself with timelines and stories and statements that didn't make sense. Without question, Terrell Farnsworth is someone who made me think that we were missing a big part of the story. So I'm walking them through John Bray's theory. If we started to insert what we are actually observing with the evidence that we're taking a look at and what took place that day. So we're completely in the hypothetical right here. And you're now introducing this.
If that's the case, if you're just hypothetically exploring it, that's why I'm just asking directly.
Yes, but that's obvious when you watch this episode. So that's why it feels like I'm in the middle of an interview with CNN when they like pull up random clips and they're like, "What's this? What's this?" You watch the episode, you know what it is. I'm just trying to make sure.
Do you think that your alternative theory?
I think John Bray's theory should be explored. Yes.
Okay. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was killed with an explosive?
I think that is a possibility. Yes.
Okay.
And it should be explored. He's done a lot of work on it. John Bray has done good work, and I think that that's why that theory is now starting to gain steam since we released the second set of the photos of what was in the car. I think it's viable.
So this was the big thing I wanted to get into with you on the explosives too. What is it about that theory that's actually compelling to you? So I looked into the explosive mic theory multiple times. And the biggest thing that stood out to me is there's no explosion. there's literally no explosion. In fact, there's videos when the shot rings out that kills Charlie. At least it sounds like a shot to me. People are actually like looking up towards where the gun is being fired. They're looking away for where the sound is. Like, where's the actual explosion?
Well, for every person that you say looks away, there's going to be a person that was looking forward. We have former Marines that have gotten on and said, it looks to me like there's an explosion under his shirt, right? You obviously saw Rob O'Neill go on to, I'm forgetting which platform it was, where he said, the first thing I thought was it looked
Rob
like
O'Neill is the man that killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, and I think he's qualified to say what he believes he saw. We should actually, since they're pulling clips, we should run that clip of Rob O'Neill and what he said and what he observed and his experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that. And also there were people who immediately spoke to the media that day who said the same thing, that they thought that something happened under his shirt. That was actually, if you go back to like my first episode, when I was just observing what I saw with my eyes, I was asking the serious question. I was seriously saying, why is it like somebody shot him from underneath? Why is his shirt moving first? It doesn't make sense to me. And
that's because of air dispersal from the bullet. So whenever a bullet is shot, a projectile shot, you can actually run this experiment yourself if you have a rifle. Take like an empty box of ammunition and put it on the table, and then fire it near the muzzle, and that box will actually blow off the table.
Okay, so question for you: does that box go sideways off the table?
It can.
It can.
Yeah, it can. It depends on the dispersal.
You 3,000 pounds of energy or 2,000 pounds of energy coming at you. That's how much it carries.
Well, it's not 2,000 pounds of energy.
Well, we can fact check that. How many pounds of energy is it? A 30-6 being shot 150 yards away. That's a great question for Grok. I'm going to say when we looked at it, it was between 1,500 and 2,000. I'm pretty sure pounds of energy coming at you, and you just go upward and to the side. I don't really buy that. I'm going to just say I just think that that's not
but
possible. It doesn't go through on top of that. So there's another miracle. You didn't get blown backwards. It didn't go through. But I also want to say that you're saying this can happen, and Rob O'Neill is infinitely more qualified, I think, to speak on that.
Why?
And because he's actually shot and killed people.
Why would that have anything to do with anything?
Because
did he slow down all the videos of the people he shot to see if their clothes moved?
Well, why are you able to assert your position as a fact?
Because I'm gonna tell you how projectiles work. He's not even gonna I guarantee you this guy's not even gonna disagree with what I'm about to say. If it is the case that you have energy and you have mass and the mass is moving in the air has to go somewhere. It doesn't have a choice.
I think you're totally BSing right now, man.
Not only am I not BSing, I'm telling you the truth. If a bullet is moving in air has to move out of way of bullet.
But maybe not at the bottom of a shirt here. I don't know. I disagree with that. I'd like to say for the record, I've watched some of you do these sorts of things where you assert something with a lot of confidence, and
you can fact check it.
Your
check if bullets displace air.
Not about whether it displaced air; it's where it dispersed the air. Underneath his shirt here.
It's not underneath the shirt.
The bullet's this big, and you're telling me it's going to hit his neck,
Candace,
and then
it's not underneath
his shirt. The shirt
starts
puffs
up here, and the collar's moving, and then you see the wave here as he's moving backwards.
No.
Yeah,
that's not true.
It's not.
And we obviously can't show that clip. I disagree with you.
Okay, I understand you can't show it for TOS purposes.
Exactly. I disagree with you. People can go watch and make up their own minds. We don't need to debate it. Whether or not that was the first thing I said was, why is his shirt moving first? That didn't make sense to me. It almost looks just like this. It goes across. His necklace breaks first before Charlie even reacts. If you watch it in slow, his necklace breaks first, which I thought was very odd. And then you see a puff here, and then the next thing you know, there's the entry wound on his neck. I would not confidently assert that I see smoke. I've never said it on my platform.
Do you think that an explosion generally has smoke?
I don't think that there's any quality version of video that would get us to be able to answer that question other than Terrell's 4K footage that he has from the front. So
there's a lot of, if you look at the Israeli pagers, it's assumed that it's a similar, if not the same type of explosive that was used inside the pagers that would have been used inside of this road mic. I
think that you should, since you love debating, you should debate someone like John Bray, who's worked on that theory for 11 months, and ask those sorts of questions of how a shaped charge would work. I presented the evidence of what was in the car. And I also, at that episode that you're clipping, said John Bray has done an unbelievable amount of work on this. Mm-hmm. And I think he has debated a ton of people actually regarding this topic. So that's the route that I would send you on. For the purposes of my show, mm-hmm. I do believe, to answer your question, that it is a hypothetical. I mean, that it is a theory that should be thoroughly explored.
There's two clips your team wants to show. One of them is the Rob O'Neill clip, since we're on it. So if you guys are ready in the back before we go to ad break, if you want to pull it up, this is a good time to do so.
And good to see you, General Holt. A lot of things bothers me about this. Nothing in particular. And it's not like I'm out there saying big lie or conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the X somehow. There didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but then she can't forgive Candace Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, "Oh, I'm just asking questions." Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask.
He's actually said very little about the explosive there. So
I'm just saying he said he's shot people up close, and he's never seen a shirt move like that. And it looked to him like an explosive. That's what he just said.
But when I play that video at full speed, I can't see a shirt moving. I can only see a shirt moving when we slow it way down. So if I'm in real time, I'm just assuming this, right? If I was in real time and I was in like a close quarters combat, you kill somebody situation, and I shot them, would you even see the shirt move?
Well, I just feel like 5 minutes ago you were arguing that it was because the bullet carried air. Now you're saying you don't see the shirt move at all.
Yeah, but that's if you slow it down, the disbursement of air, that's where you're going to see it, right? It's going to be very quick. Very, 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 very fast.
Yeah,
and then
that's not what I saw. And clearly it's not what he saw. And he thinks that there could be an explosive. So I'm just saying to you, when people disagree with you, your opinion's on a fact. That's all.
I understand.
I think that's a good place for us to, if we have another break, and then we can keep answering your questions.
Yeah. I mean, I think, sounds good.
Perfect. We'll do a quick 3.5 minute ad break. We'll be back for the last segment.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscanero. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose
Candace is something else. She ain't listening to nothing. You're right, Casey. She's insufferable. You know what I mean? Like she is. I used to listen to her. Then I started listening to her. Then I found out, that she was a liberal. You know what I mean? And she hasn't really changed. She has no evidence. All she wants to, she got all feelings. I've heard her say my feelings I feel my feelings. I done heard her say that so many times. It's ridiculous. My feelings, my feelings, my feelings. I feel like they keep on saying evidence. She blamed the wife. You know what I mean? She said it wasn't Tyler Robinson. She ain't got no evidence. She just got a dream and feelings. Man, this is crazy. This is crazy. And also earn the on. Okay, well, shit. Whatever your name is, Precious Rink. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's crazy, man. She's sitting there grinning the whole time. She's over talking him. I know he wants a cigarette. That's probably why they take this is probably was one of the things that he had put into the debate that, I got to take a smoke break every once in a while. I got to take a smoke break, because, I would have to smoke a cigarette just talking to this lady. It's like she keeps on smiling and looking like she just got you. She's doing it for her channel. That way when she goes review it, she says, she can say, you see, I'm just cool. I'm just smiling. I got him. She hasn't got nothing. She is going around in circles. She's not, I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? She's backtracking. She's talking about in my feelings. I feel. He said, yeah, but what is the evidence? What is the evidence that, what is I feel. Yeah, but I feel. That's what it just don't make no sense. Yeah, this shit's crazy. What y'all think so far? How y'all think the debate is going? I don't know how long it's gonna be. I don't know how long it's gonna be till it stops. So I feel bad and I believe. That's all she says, Marv. I believe, I feel bad. And the man saying, where is the evidence? Substantiate your claim. Where is the evidence? Why do you think what brings you to believe that she had something to do with it? What brings you to believe that? I believe. I feel. I believe. She don't want to. She's not answering nothing direct. I don't know how she has so many followers. You know what I mean? I guess she can articulate the words. She don't sound like me. You know what I mean? She don't say, you know what I mean, every other sentence. She probably can. She knows big words. She knows how to use them. And these idiots are listening to her because, she's well educated. Yeah, she's well educated. It's like, the whole time I've been seeing her, he's been asking her, let me see the evidence. What's the evidence? What's the evidence? What's the positive? Oh, why you keep on saying positive evidence? Positive. I understood when he said it the first time. Positive evidence. It's like, bring me some type of evidence, something that, you know what I'm saying, the reason why it led you to believe this. And she can't bring nothing. She hasn't brought nothing up. She's just keeps on, oh, you're just trying to lecture me. You're not my dad. You're not my dad. We know this, woman. He's not trying to be. You're putting words in his mouth. You know, it's crazy. She's putting words in the man's mouth and wants to just, oh, you're just lecturing me. You're just lecturing me. She's playing the victim the whole time. You know what I mean? It just don't make no sense at all. You know, y'all hit the like button, share the video, subscribe. You know, when the debate is over, I'm be gone, and I'll come back later on like usual. I was listening to it, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and, you know, play it, and then let me talk about it a little bit. This is the thing that everybody's been doing. You know, they want the investigators just to put out all the evidence when they don't even do that. You know, they put out all the evidence and they do everything after the trials. She just, oh, why haven't they did this? Why haven't they did that? This sounds like Nolan Wells and them in the Nolan Wells case, and Ben Crump and them. Oh, why didn't they do this? They know this. They know that you know, Judge Joe Brown. I was listening to him earlier. You know what I mean? I was listening to Judge Joe Brown, and you know, basically, you know, he was talking about the race grifting and shit. This is a different kind of grift, but they grifting nonetheless. She's grifting. No, I'm not gonna say PBD ain't grifting, but you know, not Andrew, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's just, I don't know. She ain't got no evidence. I believe. That's what you hear. I feel and I believe. Would like to see some type of evidence, but you know, the I feel and I believe, that's all she got. I feel, I believe. You know, they should be coming back here soon. You know, when they come back, I'm going to pop it back up. I don't know how PBD and them are. I don't know if they'll strike the channel or something. You know, looks like they won't, because, you know, I'm using him, and it seems like, you know, we haven't got no takedowns. They haven't struck us or nothing like that I can see. But other than that, man, since everybody's in here, like I said, y'all be prepared. You know what I'm saying? If you're on X or Kick, y'all come over to the Gospel of Bob on the YouTube channel, and hit the like, share, subscribe. You know, we probably will be discussing this later on. We probably won't. Who knows? I was watching it, thought I'd, you know, restream it and, you know, show y'all and give my opinion. You know, I can't give everything of the evidence and stuff, but I can see in the debate, it's not going good for Candace, in my opinion. Of course, in her chat, they probably might have her, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're eating him alive, Candace. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's not happening. She's not doing that. She is if I had to know what I mean, yeah, I would say she's losing, in my opinion. I'm going in her chat right now looking. He said he needs a cigarette, I guess. W Candace, Andrew help. You know what I'm saying? See, this is what they're doing. And this is the thing about it. She has 205,000 people watching her dumb ass talk with no evidence, just straight feeling. This shit with this stuff with these people and their feelings and talking about cases and talking about things. Don't bring your feelings, bring facts and evidence. And she's not doing it. You know what I mean? And her chat is over there saying, "Oh yeah, she's doing this, she's doing that." No, it's not. No, she's not. You know, she's built up a good following. It looks like. Said, but at the end of the day, it said 3.5 minutes, new 10-minute break. That's a good one, though. I ain't gonna lie. Candace is. Oh, someone said Candace is cooked. They're in the chat. Some are going. Most of them, of course, are going with her. are agreeing with her. Know what I mean? Candace, beast mode. Good. Go Max. Go Max. What a long 3.5 minutes. Yeah. They probably talking behind the scenes. Like, you know, PBD is probably trying to get shit in order, and it's probably not happening. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like I said, Candace Owens has been over. I guess that, you know, with certain people, when you over talk someone, I guess they see it as they're winning the debate. Oh man, look, she's eating his ass up. She's eating him alive because look, she's over talking him because she don't want to get. She's not like there's, you know, of course she's letting him talk, yes, but there's times when she wants him to ask questions or answer it. He goes to ask him and answer it, and oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do this. PBD's looking at her crazy, like woman, why aren't you letting him talk? He just sat here and let you talk. Let him talk. You know. I just don't, yeah. It's not, in my opinion, it's not looking good for her. Said this says this is what happens when you make a deal with the devil. You look like a fool time now and burn like one in the end. Andrew is getting cooked all for what? Money, attention. He's the TPISR puppet right now and has zero Christian values. Jesus is king. These people are crazy. These people in her chat are crazy. That was a super chat someone said. They just believe her because she feels. So she can go into like the astral realm. Oh man, Charlie Kirk spoke to me in my dreams. So you got to believe it because I'm telling y'all that she spoke to me in my dreams. You know what I mean? That's what Candace is doing. And her followers are believing this shit. All right, they're about to come up with the final thoughts.
All right, fantastic. So, Andrew, if you want to go with your last couple thoughts.
Yeah, so I just have two more clips to play.
Okay.
Right, and then we can do final thoughts. I'm guessing. I feel like we got where we were trying to go, or at least for the most part. So the two other clips, I do want to play the Twigs clip. That one is important to me, the Twigs DNA clip.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull it up just to have you respond
well,
to it.
you don't have to play it because like if you're saying that when I initially watched it, I thought that Lance Twigs' DNA, like he was directly responding to that because the testimony was a bit confusing. They started by saying that they were going to like explaining how they got the samples, and they said Lance, Matt, and Amber Robinson, how they got their DNA samples. And then they started speaking about the gun and said, you know, multiple prints were found on them. And then they moved and they said Lance Twigs's DNA was found on the screwdriver. When I went back and rewatched it, I realized, well, they haven't officially said that Lance or Amber are on the gun. So I think I've already conceded that we don't know that. So I think like, but if you want to play the clip,
this is directly you saying it is on the gun. Twigs' DNA
I'm saying
is
that
on
I
the
feel
gun.
like I've already said to you, like I've made that concession. But just to be clear, whenever I make a mistake, I just correct it. So that's why when you were asking me 3 times, I've already said we don't know yet, and I've corrected that mistake. So if the purpose of you showing this is to demonstrate that Candace makes mistakes sometimes when she's taking in a lot of information and she's reading through legal documents and she's trying to remember 9-hour testimony.
It's just demonstrate something else. It is, in fact, the case. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mistakes.
And I've already
You're going to make mistakes in the case.
Yeah.
But in this case, you were very adamant that his DNA was on the gun itself.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that it's not ruled out. We know that there's 5+ prints. I've said this so many times. I had to rewatch the testimony again. It's like 9 hours a day. It got very scientific when they were speaking about this. And I think I wrongly extrapolated that they meant all 3 of them were on the prints when the only person they officially named was Matt Robinson. So we don't know yet if Lance Twigs has his DNA on the prints, DNA on the gun officially just yet.
Okay.
I've already conceded that.
Sure.
So
that's fine. And then the last one is
this is like the Erica Kirk. All right, well, Erica, you could just sit down with me, Erica, but we can do it this way.
This goes back to a previous claim that you made.
Yeah, sure.
Bringing it up.
Straight to jail. For questioning at least, Erica.
I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you will be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all, becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies,
So straight to jail.
yeah, so that's the show intro, and straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay.
Like, you know.
So do not pass go.
Yeah.
Do not collect $200.
Yes, it's
You're going straight to
obviously
jail.
tongue in cheek. And then we explain that actually I think that she should be brought in for questioning because of inconsistencies. So this is the exact episode when I started to think that she should be sat down and questioned. And I still believe that. I still hold the perspective that Erica should be sat down and she should be properly questioned.
Do you know that she hasn't been?
No, actually, that would be a great thing for the spokesperson of Turning Point USA to say that she's already
but
sat through.
why do they?
I mean, my guess would be she hasn't because they returned everything to her.
Yeah.
But
why do they owe you that though? Why
they don't owe me
yeah.
anything. That's my show you're watching. Just, you know, the clips that you're pulling are
Yeah.
from my show. So if I want to say something on my show, I can say that. I didn't say they owe me something. I don't think that's ever, unless you have
but
another
if you
clip.
say like you need to be sat down for questioning
Yeah.
and you don't even know if they haven't been, that's strange, right?
Do you know if they have been?
No, I have no idea.
So you're just saying, what if they haven't been?
Yeah, if your
You're just kind of
entire
filling the air.
if your
with
entire
just
thing is
junk.
if you're no, it's not junk. If the query is why is it that Erica Kirk's not being sat down for questioning, but you have absolutely no knowledge whether or not she's been sat down for questioning or not. What that does is it creates an innuendo. It creates an inference. It creates out to the ethos that this should be happening because something's wrong here when you actually don't have the knowledge that anything's wrong at all.
I just think that my opinion is that she should be sat down and questioned.
But you're not sure if she hasn't been.
Yeah, and you're not sure if she has been either. So, like I said, I feel like now you're just kind of filling the air
to
with
my
nonsense.
knowledge,
Because
this
Turning
is
Point's
to-
like, we want
To my
make
knowledge,
sure that you go in there and you
nobody-
defend Erica. And I have to say, I don't think you've done an extraordinary job
Great,
at that.
but I'm not here to defend Erica. The thing is,
I
though,
would
is
say
like
that since 4 out of 5 of the clips that you
Yeah.
had on the ready when we asked you guys ahead of
Mhm.
time, I mean, I want to just assert how professionally we have dealt with this debate. As you can see, we have not planned any gotcha clips for Andrew. I expressed to him that what we were going to do was just to use people for fact checks, and because I might not remember something, or I do remember something, and you're saying no, and that is what I think will register to people as very
well, wait,
fair.
I expressly
We did not take out of
what?
context clips of Andrew
But
to
I
try to repair.
expressly said
Please
that
don't
I
cut
was
me
going to
off.
bring claims.
We did not.
Right?
No, when you said you were going to bring claims that
Your
you would want me to
claims.
speak to, you didn't say I intend on sitting you down with out of contexted clips to which we said to you before in an email. Any clips that you want to share with us, send it
Mhm.
over. Let's assert a debate claim so that we can both be ready to respond to it. This just
That's not really what happened.
well. What didn't
yeah,
happen?
this the way that you're framing the exchange.
What
That's
do you
not
mean?
that's not actually what happened. We were negotiating. It is true we negotiated out the claim itself, right? Which one's going to take which position? I wanted to make sure that I had at least an hour and a half on mine, and you got the time for yours to question me. We did. We got through your hour and a half on mine, roughly an hour and a half now on mine. That's basically how this went.
But in the beginning, I did not take an hour and a half to just pull out of context clips with Andrew. I actually debated the substance of what's going on in this trial and this hearing. And I do think that
There's-
I think you fell short of that.
There's nothing
And you-
out of the hang on.
And
There's
I did
nothing
not
here
say,
except
I'm
holding
just
you to
going to
account
get
for
you
your
to say
claims.
yes or no. Well, hold on. We were
Yeah.
supposed to be debating the case
This
and
is
whether
part of
or
the
not
case.
there was overwhelming evidence.
These are your claims about the case.
No, you then admitted that now you're getting into another sphere and you want to talk about the transcendentals and things that I've
And
said.
we got through.
And like 4
yeah.
out of 5 of your clips are about Erica Kirk. So the general
I
perception
don't think 4 out of 5 even were.
is your Turning Point's horse.
Oh,
I
so you
think
just-
quite
just-
a few
you
of
just-
them were.
you
Were
just-
there 3
just made it
Ericas
up?
or 4?
So you're just making stuff
Can
up.
we get a count of how many were about Erica? I feel
I
like
think it was
Yeah.
3.
3.
3.
Okay,
Yeah,
3. I
3.
said 4.
But those are extraordinary
sorry.
claims. That's which is why you were asked
Okay,
about them,
well,
right?
okay, but the point being is now you're veering into trying to get me to defend my opinions, and then you completely shirk responsibility when I point
claims.
out yours. No, they're not claims. When
No,
you
they're
tweet Erica
claims.
is too retarded, you go, that's just whatever, and then you move on.
That's a claim that and I'm responsible for the claim.
Well, earlier when I brought it up, you said that it was tongue in cheek.
Yes, sure. That's me responding to your criticism
Okay.
of the claim. That's all I'm doing here.
I was interested, and
And I'm happy to get into also the Patsy stuff now, if you would like to.
well,
Your
that
team
was
has one more
supposed
clip
be
they
the
want to
whole
play
They
from
want
thing.
7
more.
days
Okay,
ago.
sorry.
They got one
They
more
had
clip.
to.
and
We
then
were
can
getting
go to
into the Patsy stuff, and you stopped it, and I was explaining to you. Oh, they have one more clip. Okay, let's go.
They want to hit the minimum of 4 clips you were saying with Erica. So
100%.
This is absurd.
Okay. And this is the one you're saying from 7 days ago. Okay. While they're looking for that, do you want to continue?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just in
really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're going to hold to the actual contract itself.
The
But-
contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have a
respond.
conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like
Let's have it your way. I want it to look like
Still happy
we've
to have
done
the
everything
debate.
Andrew wanted to, so that people can fairly assess the situation. So you have it your way. I
Totally
will not
fine.
ask a question.
Totally fair with me.
So are you good with her asking a question or
He
no?
said no.
Waiting for the clip.
Okay. So you want to wait for the clip first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have it in the back? Okay, beautiful.
You need the Jeopardy
Your team
thing.
told me they had it. So
That's what I heard. Okay, there we go.
come on, guys.
Did this crime. Okay? Because Lance
I can't
Twiggs
hear this. My
has
thing
his
went out. Just
DNA
tell me what
on
it
the
says out
towel.
there. It's fine.
Lance Twiggs has his DNA on the rifle.
Lance Twiggs
And to
has
be
his
clear,
DNA on the
Lance
rifle.
Twiggs'
Said this- repeated this
DNA
4 times,
was
but I don't
not
know why they
as
feel like they need
degraded
to-
as Tyler Robinson's DNA was on Tyler's rifle. It's Tyler's rifle.
Oh, you
but
also
Lance's
said, yeah, it's
DNA
not as degraded on the rifle.
Yeah, because I thought he was one of the things, but I've
Right.
already that's what I mean when I say that. Like, it just seems like you're not actually here trying to engage, because even before you got to this, and I knew that you had some secret clip planned, I said to you when I rewatched the testimony, I realized that they didn't explicitly say Lance Twiggs. They said 5 other profiles were on it, and that his was the most degraded. So I hope your team feels fulfilled in playing that. Is there any more? I'm happy to play every clip that he has on the ready. Anybody?
You said you had some new evidence at the beginning of the
Oh yeah, we
debate
should
you had
show that
something
text
new.
message that you
Did
read,
you
just
wanna
because
share
I
that?
think that's important for the public. You shared it out of context.
I'll do it on my show. I'll share the text
So you're going to
message.
read it on my show, but not show it.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll show it on my show, but that's what I'll do. I'll show it on my
Can
show.
I ask why?
Well, because I want to drip out the evidence, that's got to drip out that evidence, keep people coming back for the show, right?
I don't know if snark serves you so well.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'll release it there. Yeah, that's my intention. But yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, is that permitted?
Go ahead.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah.
with.
Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I
Can you-
want to
can you
make sure
name
that we
one?
have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following
Is that
the
it?
case.
That's the
Yeah.
question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should,
All
like,
right.
can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's...
You can really, hang on. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play
Yeah.
clips out of context,
Yeah,
put me
yeah.
in the hot seat. So
Mhm.
please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even, this is like,
Name all 7.
and I
Can you
think
name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't have
name
to put
'em.
your fingers up. I can
Okay,
do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder, because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so
Next.
just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all, is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined,
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it. Give me the other ones.
the more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
No,
people
I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm going to
tell me
say
them.
again, because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final
the specific charges, though?
that is them: obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged.
no,
with
no.
it.
Just the charges, and then 7.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If
Sure.
you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7.
Violent
I said offense in the presence of a
in front
minor.
of a child?
Yeah.
That's what
So
I said.
5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication
Okay.
with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm
You
just
can.
curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
I'm
have
looking
full
at, I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go through my
names.
phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mhm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
So
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission. I'm
Yes.
just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia,
Okay.
and that was it. I downloaded for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Then-
I don't need to like. I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I don't need to
I
pretend
get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I
Yeah.
just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your
Nothing, just so
questions.
you know,
Yeah.
nothing there.
There. I don't
Yeah. Do you
need to
have
do
the
that.
steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming with the receipt. And that was what I was responding to. And he then dropped the receipt. He redacted elements of it. And I said, stay tuned. He's the one working on that story.
Okay. So you haven't actually confirmed that Robinson was at that steakhouse.
All I did, as I said earlier in this conversation, was I spoke to the owner when I broke that story. I think it was back in January. I spoke to the owner, understood what had happened, and that there was a receipt. That's it. That's the extent of what I shared is what happened.
Okay. So to be clear, there's no receipt. You
No,
don't-
I just said the opposite. I said there is
well,
a
you
receipt.
don't have a copy of the receipt.
The receipt was published online.
Yeah, right. With blurred
The
out.
person working on this story
Yeah.
that blurred that out
Mhm.
is what I was referring to when I said stay tuned and keep following his stuff, because he went to go do what I hadn't done, which was he interviewed the actual server.
So there's no evidence that Tyler was at that steakhouse.
I would say the receipt with his debit card number, it would be some hard evidence if that
I agree with that.
Yeah,
But,
so that's it. But you're questioning me.
But is there, as of right now,
he paid, if you're asking me, did he pay with a credit or debit card? The answer is yes.
No. Is there proof that that was actually his debit card that he paid with?
I think you should follow the person that is behind that story.
Well, the reason I'm asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we feel are
But is there any actual
Utah 1102
evidence?
approved. I think speaking to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt is good enough to put on our timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, what's the name on this?
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that having spoken to the owner, that the evidence is compelling enough to put onto my personal timeline of what took place on that day. That's where it's going to stay. And if it gets debunked, I'm happy to take it off. If that's what you mean, that's how an investigation works. Like I said, I did more than enough. It would definitely pass the test by the Utah 1102 rule for sure, for certain.
To be submitted as hearsay.
Well, yeah, beyond that, because they didn't even have receipts. They were like, Bob told me this.
But the question is, the receipt itself, it has not been verified to have been Tyler
Yeah, I
Robinson's,
just want to say you're holding me to a higher standard than you are.
I'm not even holding it. I'm just
prosecution.
asking specifically.
Yeah, I've been very forthcoming. I told exactly what happened. I spoke to the owner. I got the tip, and
so should that be added in an official timeline that
it's
you
in
give?
my timeline. It's my show, and we can add and subtract what we want, and we do. If
you
we
can
get
do what you
wrong,
want, sure. But
well,
I'm asking,
to make sure.
Should you include a thing that you know hasn't actually been verified to be Tyler Robinson's?
Yes, you should. If we're trying to build a timeline, you should. Yeah.
You don't think that falls
and then
under...
you should remove it if someone somehow debunks it. But I think that there is very strong evidence that is where he was, and that
what's the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
You know, I'm actually all good with being. I feel like I've sufficiently answered your question about how I got the information, what happened next, with the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it. Yes. And I do believe that will happen. If it does not happen and it gets debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline that I share on my show.
That officer, the first officer that was up on the roof, do you remember his name?
Officer Bagley.
Yeah. What was his first name?
Christopher.
When Christopher got up on the roof, you talk a lot about how his camera died.
Well, he talked a lot about that during the preliminary hearing.
Died.
Yeah.
Do you think that he planted that screwdriver up there?
No.
No. Who do you think planted it?
If we're just going on am I allowed to have an opinion?
Of course.
At this stage, I would say that I don't buy his assertion on the stand that he didn't check to see if anybody went onto the rooftop before he got up there. I do think that it's possible. It's at least plausible that the screwdriver was planted. I don't believe him. What I can say strongly is that his cam died at just the right time. His body cam died at just the right time. I think that, as you were just grilling me about whether or not I had got the merchant receipt for a debit card, that kind of makes difficult that we just have to sort of trust that a screwdriver was found and we don't have any should be evidence of a police body cam. But like I said, you accept that stuff and then are like, did you call the merchant and get it just seems like
well, I'm not adding.
You hold the prosecution to a higher standard than you do to people.
Unconfirmed evidence to an official timeline that I'm putting out either.
What do you mean official timeline? This is my timeline. I made it at home.
So then it would be official to your show.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then your official timeline, Candace Owens' official timeline includes a steakhouse stop that has not actually been confirmed at all.
Well, yeah, it hasn't even been discussed by the prosecution. So it's not like you're debunking that it happened.
Well, there's no evidence for it. There's no good evidence for it at all. There's no camera there. And the steakhouse receipt itself has never been confirmed to be Tyler Robinson's.
I'm assuming this is just like a talking point they gave you and you got to like keep pushing this or like.
I've been following it very closely on X.
The receipt, you weren't even following the charges of Tyler Robinson, but you really wanted to know. I've been following it very closely on X.
Wait, you think
I'm calling owners of steakhouses and having a conversation. You're following Congo on X.
I literally followed the entire trial or the preliminary live. I was live with an attorney. We covered all of it. You think because I have a momentary or lapse where I'm like, oh, it's murder? No, it's aggravated murder. Come on.
You didn't know any of the charges.
Splitting hairs.
No, that's not splitting. It means you didn't follow the preliminary hearing at all.
No, it doesn't
Like
mean
you
that
don't
at
know
all.
any of the
That's
charges that are
ridiculous.
against him when this is like getting literally to the crux, aggravated murder versus murder.
It's ridiculous.
A death sentence.
And not only that, let's point this out. One of the major things here is that this is your official timeline.
It's mine.
Yes. Who else could it be? Who else? There would be Candace
What's your
Owens'
issue?
I just
timeline.
don't know what his
What's your
issue
issue
is with my timeline.
What's your issue with that?
Well, so the issue is that the entirety of the evidence revolves around two people who claim that he was there and supposedly a receipt. There's supposedly a receipt where Tyler Robinson paid for his steak and his soft drink. No alcohol, right? No alcohol, right? You know nothing about the case. But anyway, this particular receipt, they could have called the merchant account, confirmed it, this type of thing. To date, this receipt has only the blurred information on it that would actually give you the information to confirm whose receipt it is. We have to date, nobody has confirmed that this was actually Tyler Robinson's receipt. And yet inside of Candace Owens' timeline, which she states over and over again, when she says, this is the longest 13 hours, this is 13 and a half hours, the requirement for about roughly 5.5 or 6 hours of that is that he went to the steakhouse. And that's not been confirmed at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like saying that I spoke to the owner of the steakhouse is me, like, not just being on X looking at opinions, but actually doing the legwork. And that's why like I said, if you think this builds up a rapport with your audience and makes you seem like a serious person, we don't have to keep belaboring the point here. I feel like I've demonstrated that I did as much as I could to confirm this when it came in. I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, obviously took down everything he said, noted that there was, in fact, a receipt that he pulled. That receipt that was published is real. A debit card and a credit card was used. If for some reason somebody misidentified something down the line, or we find out it's a different Tyler Robinson, I'm happy to remove it from my timeline. But for right now, I think that there's enough under the Utah 1102 rule for me to keep it there. I don't really think we need to keep going into circles about this receipt. It's my timeline.
I don't know why the 1102 rule would apply here for your
because
timeline.
You were constantly cite things that are said in that courtroom that have less evidentiary support than me contacting and speaking with the owner of the restaurant. It's not like I dreamed it, as to use your expression. So it's in my timeline, and I'm going to keep it there if that's
sure.
Cool.
You can keep whatever
Great.
you want there.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's no evidence he was ever there.
Okay, thank you.
No hard evidence anyway. Yeah, I'm fine with closing.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before we go into ad break, right after this will be final thoughts. I'll be asking both of you if anything on your opinion, thoughts changed on the case, and then we'll finish it up from there. So with that being said, a 3.5 minute break, and then we'll come back for final thoughts.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscanero. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose
I said, Pikes said, watch BD. She's about to slap both of them boys. Then bam. You listen, man. Like I said, I've been saying, I'm going to stay for the last closing thoughts, and I'm going to close it out. She hasn't brought no evidence. She throwing claims around. She's getting mad when the man is asking her to substantiate her claims. She's not bringing no hard evidence. All this, I feel, I believe, I have my source, but she doesn't show nothing. Yes, Bob. Yes, everybody. Yes, it's been boring. It's kind of been boring. I have been watching all of it. Yes, I did. Just because I wanted to. Candace is making herself look bad. But she got 200-some thousand people I guess they thinking basically she's winning in their eyes. I don't know how, but she is winning in their eyes. It's wild, but I guess it is what it is. Israel, you say France. Where's your evidence? Oh, there was phones there. I mean, she is pretty. Yeah, that's about the only thing. That's why, listen, this one thing I can say, and you've seen it, we've seen it close, hand. Women, they're gonna get more followers, especially if you got something to show. You look a little bit good. Women are gonna get a lot of followers, and that's probably why she got all these followers, because she don't know what the hell she's talking about, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It makes, I guess, to her audience, it sounds good, but like, I don't know. I just don't understand it. She hasn't brought up no evidence yet. She's still, the only reason why I think they're taking so long for the breaks because Andrew Wilson, I think he got to smoke. It takes like 5 minutes to smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? Unless he just like inhales it. But other than that, yeah, man, Candace is looking bad. It's looking bad for Candace in my eyes. No, a lot of people ain't gonna believe it. A lot of people ain't gonna see it that way. Yeah, she's a pretty face to look at. You know what I mean? But what does that mean? My poll response is none of them. Okay, that's a good one, SB. How you day been? Hopefully everything's been good with you. SB, I think I just watched it because, of course I was paying attention to this. I should have put that too. I should have put none of them. You know what I mean? Just like you wrote it, none of them. But I think it just shows that like people are following these people just because they can speak good. You got Candace Owens. She can articulate her words good. She knows big words. All this and all that. She knows this stuff, right? So she's gonna draw a crowd in. She's a pretty face. But yet, when you really dive deep into how and what she thinks and what she talks about, it's all about her feelings and her beliefs. Nothing about evidence. She hasn't brought up. And then when the guy asked her hey, can you substantiate the evidence? Can you show us evidence? She can't do it. It's like she can't do it. You know what I mean? So I don't understand it. Yes, I know it's boring. We're gonna come back later. We ain't even got to talk about it. I just wanted to watch it. I decided to just watch it with y'all. I'm about to end the live stream when they put their final thoughts. I'm giving my thoughts on this situation. The only reason why I say Andrew Wilson won, they got Andrew Wilson on one of the boy channels the other day. Did you guys catch it? Oh, no, I didn't. No, shit. Whose channel was that, SB? I wonder whose channel that was. I don't know because I don't, people try to label us as the boy, you know what I mean? Boy channel of the sector. Man, I don't think I don't understand that. They try to label bottom of YouTube. That doesn't mean nothing bad. It's just we're the ones that hold the YouTube down. No, shut the hell up, bottom of YouTube. That's the dumbest shit ever. Said it's impounded we're up there. Okay. All right. Well, probably John Galt then, I guess. Or do you know whose it was? I just wanted to know. Andrew Wilson, I have been listening to Andrew Wilson. I don't believe everything he says. He says he's a Christian. And I know people are talking about, oh, it's about the tone. No, it's not necessarily the tone. It's his attitude. He don't act like a Christian. You know what I mean? Give me a minute, y'all. They're coming back.
Arguments were solid, great. Candace, great. But did anything change your mind? Did you watch and say, you know what, I had this position over here. This would be an interesting commentary to hear. And of course, for all the people that are watching, I was just whispering to them here before we wrap it up. I think whether you're a fan of Andrew or not, whether you're a fan of Candace or not, Nobody can dispute the fact that these guys agreed to sit down and talk live. Others were thinking this was pre-recorded. This is not pre-recorded, just so everybody knows. This is purely live. This is a little bit scarier than pre-recorded because pre-recorded can do edits. So whether you agree with them or not, let's make sure we respect both of them for having this sit down. And before the final thoughts, I want to make sure you guys hear that from me as well, for inviting me here as well.
Of course.
I do know one day, I think it was last week, you sent a message on one of our accounts. You said, can I talk to Patrick? We got on the call. You said, Patrick, can you moderate this? And then I said, great, let's do this. And so before we wrap up, final thoughts, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing, just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything. When I asked her about her claims about Erica Kirk, yeah, it's just funning. It's just funning, Or, yeah, I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, or answer some questions. But you know what? I don't even know if she has. Like, maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. Hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay. She's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero. And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence? We're just asking questions. It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things. Andrew, how many times do you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things, and that makes me skeptical. It's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candace this entire debate. Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing. Unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that, but there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy, nothing for any of her conspiracies, not a zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
Well, I think that is quite a conclusion. Admitting somewhere, maybe we stalemated. It probably signifies what I've been saying from the beginning, that you didn't feel that you were strong on the actual facts and the evidence, which I was willing to engage with you. I wanted to go over the screwdriver. I wanted to go over the towel, the things that you've mentioned, and you wanted to then move the conversation into a defense of Erica Kirk and her character, and what I've said about Erica, which is my opinion. And I have not edited that opinion after discussing with you. I would like to extend a compliment to you for being willing to sit down and to have the conversation. I still walk away feeling that the people who are jumping on the bandwagon about this case don't care about this case. They don't care about Erica Kirk. It tends to be follow that They take a meeting with Turning Point USA, and they come out and suddenly have a lot of junk to say about Candace Owens. And I do want to also stress that Turning Point USA tried to pepper him with something as a surprise. He showed clips that were meant to be a surprise. I did no such thing. I stressed to PBD from the beginning that I was grateful he was taking this on and that I wanted this to be a clean debate because I believe I can win this on the merits. And I believe that I did win this fully on the merits by engaging the evidence of what has happened. I do still believe that there is more evidence which supports that there are more people involved and that Tyler Robinson has been set up, and that none of the evidence that was presented was in any way overwhelming, which is why I think you wanted to move to end that discussion quickly and to speak to me about France and to talk about this Panguitch receipt and my timeline. I want to remind people that a lot of the at-home investigators, which you were open to, as you called them, internet sleuths. I think it was on a show that you did right after Charlie was assassinated that internet sleuths would solve this. This is the reason why Charlie, a year on, is still a conversation every single day trending on Twitter. I knew Charlie. I cared about Charlie. I care about finding out what the truth is here. My heart is in the right place. I think anybody who watches my show or even just watched this debate knows that if I get something wrong, I'll instantly correct it and own it. I'm not arrogant. I don't need to sit here and pretend that I didn't misspeak on the Lance thing. It hasn't been ruled out. But you saw that he just really wanted to hammer that point. You know, part of being a well-meaning person is to concede when you are wrong, to take something off a timeline when you know it's not right. And I would like to think that that is why I have earned the audience that continues to follow me, because they know my heart's in the right place, that I deeply cared about Charlie and I deeply care about the answers. I want to thank Andrew's team who are providing the fact checks. It's a very small room that they're in. I want to, as always, thank my team who worked really hard to make this happen and flip this set. And to you, PBD, just for being a great moderator. I think very fair, letting us both speak and making sure that Andrew got out of this what he wanted, which is a little more than what I wanted. But I'm very content with how I dealt with this. And I trust, I don't need to convince the audiences with the magic trick of what they need to think about this debate. They can watch it and draw their own conclusions.
Beautiful. Fair from both of you. I think the audience won. And again, from the beginning, all of this is because of how much love and respect we have for Charlie Kirk, a great man that's no longer here with us. His 1-year anniversary is coming up here. I can't believe it's that quick that is here. The audience, I think you also won if you did support the Crucible, support the Candace show, support the PBD podcast, subscribe to the channel. This is how you help these voices get out even more, especially going into future when this happens. You want a lot of independent creators to have these types of discussions. And last but not least, the two of you, I respect you guys again for having this conversation. It is not easy to do so. Hopefully this will lead to more discussions. A lot of different things we talked about. I'm sure there will be a lot of follow-up. With that being said, take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
All right, so let me answer this right quick. Let me say, the SB said it's a sector. Okay, that's good thought. What side of CT Universe extension would possibly call this part? Well, I don't think CT, and I don't know if CT would agree with it, but I don't think CT's in that void. I think they try to put him into that void because they wanted, they wanted to, right? Now, we are just a part of CT Universe, basically, like a junior little offshoot. And but we got our own mind, basically. You know what I mean? We talk about some of the things, but we talk about what we talk about, like, on our own topics over here. So that's what I would say to this, SB. I don't think CT is in no damn sector. Well, not in that shit that they put him in, or us. I think he made his own sector. It's the CT Universe, and we're an offshoot of it, but we just have our own mind. That's what I think. But to this woman just sat there and said that she brought up evidence. She did not bring up no evidence. She has a snarky little smile because now she's going to go back on her channel, you know what I mean, and sit there, I think I debated, I think I won. No, she didn't win. She didn't bring no evidence to substantiate nothing. None of the Israel claims, none of the France claims, none of that. She didn't bring none of that. So, in my opinion, I just wasted 2.5 hours or 3 hours of my life. The only reason why I did, because I was kind of interested in it. It was all right. and PBD is right. If they want to debate, they need to start doing this in person debate. Let people talk, and I think this is a good thing to have people talking like this. So yeah, I think I think it was a all right debate. I think it was boring. That's what debates are. I don't know what kind of debate they're used to. I have never. I don't know. I've never seen a debate that was exciting, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But that's just me. All the debates I've seen are boring. Unless you get a like on here and on CT when we start yelling, we get a little war going on. It's exciting then. But other than that, now. But let me see. Marvin SB talking in the chat said you and like I said, let me see. You said something. Said it's the nonsense that you'll hear on CT's channel. Yeah, with a lot of them people coming up there, like you got SB, you got like Zach, you got Afro Nerd. Yeah, Afro Nerd is one of them well articulated persons, but they need to stop. I told this to CT when I first started on his channel. Some of these people don't need to, it needs to be illegal for some of these people to read. You know what I mean? It does. Because then they take fiction and turn it into nonfiction, and they think it's real, and they start just throwing all kinds of shit out here. You know what I mean? So yeah. Said I'm listening. I'm listening. I respect your answer, Sky. Okay, thank you. You need to come by more often, SB. We're gonna have a ladies' night. I don't know when it's gonna be. Naze is gonna probably talk about it. Um, of course, what's today? Friday? Oh shit, I'm already. So tomorrow, Saturday, we might have karaoke. We might not. You know what I mean? It's called Ninja Yoki. We might we'll see. We'll see what's up. You know what I mean? But we are having a ladies' night coming up here soon. So if you have lady friends, you know what I mean? They ain't got to cam up. They can just interact in the chat. Tell them to come by. You know what I mean? There's gonna be. It's gonna be. If I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be Marv, Nazes, and Mikey. So, yeah. But said SB, you seem to be smart, but down to earth woman. But that's just the vibe I just get from. Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't. And this is just from her remarks in the chat. I get that same, she's not trying to combat you. If you have a perspective on something, she's not gonna go at you and try to talk to you talking about like you're this and you're that. Like, them other girls in CT's chat do, you know what I mean? That's why they don't come here that often no more, because they didn't like that I like natural women. So I don't know. It might have hit a nerve. But said, "Oh, you're not a fan of the fighting, huh?" Yeah, yeah. Said, "Ladies' night on this channel. I was on camera one time elsewhere. Sky and Marv. Oh, well, come on up if you more you're more than welcome to come up, SB. You know what I mean? More than welcome to come up anytime. But especially if you want to come by on ladies' night, come on the cam up. You know, gonna have a topic, whatever the topic is, you can put your 2 cents in, and we'll appreciate that. So come on, cam up, we'll appreciate it. We want, everybody, it's not, if you've been around for a while, you know that the narrative with me was I didn't like women up here. That's never been the case at all. I'm pretty sure if you've been in the chat and you've heard what I said, that I've never said that. I've always said I've always said that everybody's welcome, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's just people, there were certain people that wanted to just like have 9 women up here and him, and that's it. You feel me? Cool. We could have did that on certain nights, but that's why we have a ladies' night. You know what I mean? A women's night. But I, we can come, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, anybody can come up here, put your 2 cents in, put your perspective in, and whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not telling nobody they can't come up here. The only people that I don't want up here, the people that are gonna hurt the channel. That's it. You know what I mean? If you ain't coming up here to hurt the channel, you know what I mean? I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't like me. You know what I mean? You don't even have to like me. You know what I mean? You can come up and tell me what you got or whatever. You ain't gotta like my ideas, the way I think or nothing. I don't care. Come on up. I said I love women involved in the chat and on the panel. Yeah, man, there's more than welcome. Listen, SB and anybody more than welcome to come on the panel as long as they don't come up here dropping TOS on purpose and trying to show something. You know what I mean? Trying to get the channel struck. Man, listen, I don't care. If it's a regular day and wind up having 7 women up here with 3 dudes, then so be it. It is what it is. That's how the dice was rolled that day. But then you have other days where it might be 7 dudes and 3 women. That's how the dice roll. However the dice roll, that's how we gonna, you know what I mean? That's how we gonna play the game. That's it. You know what I mean? So you're more than welcome to come up anytime. I know you be in the chat all the time. You've been in the chat. Shit, I think if I'm not mistaken, you've been in since day one. Might be wrong, but yes, I do remember that. I do remember that, SB. I think I do remember now. I thought that was unique. I thought I was thinking of unique. I remember unique coming up and coming up a couple times, but I think I do remember when you came up. Before I get off, I'm just gonna let y'all know. Let me know what y'all want me to do. I done told y'all I want to do little, IRL. You know what I mean? Maybe take y'all to a museum. You know what I mean? Around this area, I put up some places. It's gonna be just to look around and leave. Probably about 20, 30 minutes there and leave. But you know, I can sit there and try to read stuff to y'all in the museum. But I'm gonna find out if I can go to museums and live stream and streaming there. You know what I mean? So let me know. Yeah, I remember that. The unique name, me, Tina, we're on T's channel for latest night. I remember that. That was before everything went sideways. You know what I mean? But I remember that. But y'all let me know in the chat for the comments or whatever. Let me know what y'all want to be done. Y'all want me to show y'all around St. Pete and Tampa Bay area? I'll do that. You know what I mean? Shit, if I have to go to Tampa, you know what I mean, to show y'all something, I'll do that. That's what we'll do. Said the Pikes up here talking. Said learn to speak English. On my bad, you sit viewing. But if everybody on the X and Kick, y'all want to join the conversation, y'all want to send a super chat, y'all want to type in the chat or be active over here. Come to the Gospel of Bob on YouTube. It's called the Gospel of Bob. Come over here, like, share, subscribe, and come join the party over here. You know what I mean? If y'all want, to put y'all's 2 cents in, come over here to YouTube and let's talk about it. Walkabouts are good for live streaming. Yeah, so that's what let me know, SB. Let me know what y'all want to do. When I go live later on or later on in the week, I'm going to put up some places. I'll put up a poll and I'll put up some places on the poll and let me know where y'all want to go. And we'll go. We'll do it as a team. You know what I mean? He said, tune in next Friday. SB Skywalker is Skywalker to down a 7-foot long buns. Go to hell, Epoxy. With that, listen, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll see y'all later on. I just wanted to run that, get what y'all think about it on all that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be back later. I'll talk to y'all later, man. Y'all peace out. Hype the video up, share the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll be back later, man. Peace out.
Gospel about no purpose, no crown. Just a crew on the mic, holding it down. Yeah. Lasers. Lasers. Gospel of God. Yeah. Nasers got that steel spine, but her words like silk. Calm the whole block when the tension's built. She seen the struggle from the streets to the pain, but she talks real talk, no fake, no game. With that disciplined air, she'll call out the bluff, make you face your truth. Yeah, she's that tough. This the gospel of vibe, no suits, no fakes, just real ones here, no snakes, no breaks. We spit that truth from the block to the sky. Gospel of vibe where the real ones ride. Skywalker don't play, he slick with the cut. One nod to the back, yeah, you out, no strut. He seen the corners where the hustlers creep, but he flips that mic, keeps the convo deep. He'll drop a line like he's dropping a dime. Streetwise host, but the show's still prime. He got that voice that'll make you stay, but don't test him, he'll send you away. This the gospel of vibe, no suits, no fakes, just real ones here, no snakes, no breaks. We spit that truth from the block to the sky. Gospel of vibe where the real ones ride. Black bear stand tall, flag on his chest from the block to the stars. He reps the best. Seen the grind, seen the hustle from the red to the blue, but he brings us all back. Yeah, that's what he do. He talks that pride, but it ain't just show. He's all about the people from the high to the low. Black Bear's vibe is the truth, no doubt. He's the one who reminds what it's all about. Fly high, but he knows the block. Pilot of the show, but he keeps it rock. Peppermint mocha in the grind, don't stop. But he built this spot for the whole damn block. He seen the hustle, yeah, he knows that life. But he opens the door, no hate, no strife. Bob's got the key, but he shares that wealth. Gospel of Bob, where we all find gospel of Bob. No suits, no fakes, just real ones here. No snakes, no breaks. We spit that truth from the block to the sky. Gospel of Bob, where the real ones ride.